The meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board, City of Riviera Beach, Florida, will commence and start at 6:32 p.m., Thursday, August 26, 2021. I'd like to just make a brief announcement that we have a heavy agenda this evening. For anyone for the Berkeley Landing meeting, that doesn't come up for a moment, and if you would not mind, because of COVID, to wait outside until the P&Z staff brings that group and other participants in. So if you're here for that meeting, please wait outside until staff brings you in. And this is just to keep us COVID compliant. At this moment, I am going to add, if you wish to speak on any item on this agenda, please complete a public comment card provided to the planning and zoning staff. Cards must be submitted prior to the board discussion of any item. This evening, I'd like to welcome all of our visitors, our residents, and our viewing audience of Riviera Beach. And at this time, we are going to be led into a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance led by our Vice Chair, Ms. Renee Burgess.
Where is the... I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we are now ready for roll call. If we may have roll call, Madam Clerk.
William Wiley,
Present.
Anthony Brown, Margaret Shepard, here. James Gallen,
Here.
Frank Fernandez, Moeti Nubi, Russell Barnes, Renee Burgess,
Present.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Appreciate it. Okay. We have acknowledged the absence of board members already. They have already communicated on item 3. So we're going to move on to additions and deletions to the agenda. Do we have any additions to the agenda by staff? No. Okay. The only addition that I do have to the agenda is that we're just going to change the order, that after each staff person and applicant have completed their presentations, we're going to open up that section to public comments, and then the board will deliberate on our comments or any other questions. And we'll proceed that way throughout the entire agenda. Okay? Any deletions to the agenda? Okay, all right. Disclosures by board members, and we just have one disclosure, and that board member's not here. Okay, fine. And now I will ask that staff adopt the agenda. May I have a board member make a motion to adopt the agenda as noted?
So moved.
Second.
We'll just wait for a moment for Madam Clerk. We may have to do that again, board. Just one moment. Okay, we're going to do that again. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as noted?
So moved.
Second.
May we have a vote, Madam Clerk? Did you get who
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Thank
did.
you.
All right, may we have a vote?
William Wiley,
Yes.
Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
James Gallant,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. Okay. And the next item is the approval of our minutes from Thursday, July 22nd. May I have a board member make a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
May we have a vote, Madam Clerk?
William Wiley,
Yes.
Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
James Gallant,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. Okay, next item, we're on to item 7 of our agenda. Ms. Savage, is there any unfinished business? No, ma'am. Okay, we're good? Okay, moving right along, we're going to go to our first item on our agenda. Under new business, item number A. Ms. Savage?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Just one moment. I do want to make a short statement that we have a heavy agenda this evening, and for our board members, if we make sure that we're precise and concise, and we'll try to keep our meeting going on since we have a lot to do this evening. Thank you. All right, it's over to you, Ms. Savage.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Madam Chair, repeat that, what you just said.
That we have a heavy agenda, and we're going to be precise and concise because we have such a heavy agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
And the first item on our agenda tonight is SP 20-11, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving site plan application SP 2011 from Riviera Beach Property Incorporated to allow for the construction of a 6,508 square foot medical office detox facility building with associated landscaping and parking on properties known as 47 West 14th Street and 55 West 14th Street, identified by parcel control numbers 5643, 42, 33, 06, 003, 0110, and 5643, 42, 33, 06, 003, 0130, having a downtown mixed-use future land use designation and a downtown core zoning designation, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. So this is the project location, and this is Broadway over here. To the north is West 14th Street, Avenue E, and then down here is West 13th Street. And this project consists of 2 separate parcels. The legal description, I won't read it. It was provided in your file for you. The request is for the development of a 6,508 square foot medical office building with associated parking and landscaping. The applicant has indicated an intent to use the property for a detoxification facility. The subject property is located on properties known as 47 West 14th Street and 55 West 14th Street. The parcel together is just under 15,000 square feet. It's currently vacant, zoned downtown core, and downtown mixed-use future land use. To the north, there's a boat mechanic. To the south, there's residential as well as some vacant land. To the east, there's vacant property, and to the west, there's a commercial building and a restaurant use. So the applicant submitted the site plan application 20-11 to allow for the construction of this project. The project site consists of 2 separate parcels, and as such, staff is recommending that the board require the applicant to replat the properties prior to building permit issuance. It's going to be developed as one site, and we feel that the property should be combined. The project is within the boundaries of the Community Redevelopment Agency, the CRA, and as such, They need to provide their recommendation on the project for the city council to consider in addition to the advisory recommendation of this board, the Planning and Zoning Board. The CRA did hear the application at their meeting of May 12th, and documentation of that meeting was enclosed in your packet. The CRA also at that meeting advised the applicant to hold a community meeting in order to inform the neighbors about the proposed project. And my office provided the applicant the mailing addresses for everybody within 300 feet of the parcel. And he did indeed mail out a notice. We put a copy of what he mailed out to the abutters in your packet for you to read, as well as a sign-in sheet from that meeting, which he held on August 3rd, and a copy of meeting notes. So this is our zoning map, and I just want to point out to you, these again are the two properties, and it's downtown core, immediately adjacent to some downtown general property. So it's really at a transition zone between downtown general and downtown core. This is the site plan, and it was also in your packet. And what you're seeing here is a proposed two-story medical office building. There are 10 parking spaces proposed, including 1 handicap parking space and the required landscape islands. The dumpster is located in this area. I will note that per our current code, properties that are less than 100 feet in width are in the downtown general and downtown core zoning districts are not required to provide on-site parking. So in other words, he did not have to provide this parking, but in conferencing with staff as we reviewed the project, he had the ability to provide parking on site, and so it was our opinion, and he consented to indeed provide parking on the site, and we did appreciate that. There is also in this area proposed an outside seating area and patio provided, and you can see it a little better on the landscaping plan. So on this landscaping plan for the property, I will call out that a total of 15 trees and palms are proposed, as well as numerous shrubs. We typically require 1 deciduous tree per every 2,500 square feet. So it is what I would call a fairly robust landscape plan. And in this area, again, is the outside seating area, and there's even a little fountain proposed here. Now, after the conversations and all the notices went out to the neighbors, the applicant was contacted by one of his neighbors. They provided written comments to staff. Those are actually included in your board, or in your board backup folder. Mr. Rogatinsky, as soon as I got the comments from the neighbor, I provided them to the applicant. The applicant met with the neighbor, talked about the concerns, and they came to an agreement on how to mitigate some of the concerns that the abutter did have. And yeah. And so after that consultation with the neighbors, the applicant has agreed to provide a 6-foot opaque wall with hedges on both sides around the property. Now, I will note for the board that in the front yard setback, the fence can only be 4 feet tall, but around the remainder of the property, the applicant can put up a 6-foot wall with the hedges. You have correspondence in your notebook from the neighbor who agrees that he's satisfied with that remedy, and he's happy with it. The applicant also agreed to shift the location of the outside seating area as possible in order to achieve slightly more distance between this seating area and the abutter to the south, which is 52 West 13th Street. Both of these concessions that the applicant has made to the abutter were not in your original draft staff report. At the end of this PowerPoint presentation, you will see that I added those onto the list of staff recommended conditions just as a belt and suspender. The applicant has agreed to do them. However, I would recommend that we condition them anyway. So the proposed use is a medical office building, detoxification use. The use is not listed technically as a permitted use, but this zoning district does permit other uses that could be considered more intensive uses, and as such, the applicant team feels that this use is appropriate in this location and will be a beneficial addition to the district. This project is in our downtown core zoning district. The purpose and intent of the downtown districts generally is to guide the redevelopment of the CRA of Riviera Beach and the surrounding properties into a vibrant downtown that provides a variety of housing types to accommodate a diverse population, establishes a park once type environment by providing a mix of uses within a pedestrian-friendly environment, maintains and enhances a continuous, interconnected network of pedestrian and bicycle-friendly streets that effectively links transit stations, bike paths, sidewalks, buildings, open spaces, and the waterfront, provides public open space in the form of civic parks, plazas, and greens, maintains and enhances public access to the waterfront, encourages investment by accommodating new development at a range of scales, including individual infill buildings, as well as large redevelopment projects, and maintains and improves the real and perceived safety as a key component of walkability and sustainability. So that's directly from your Code of Ordinances. Now, the comprehensive plan identifies this area as downtown mixed use, and this project would indeed introduce a new use to this area. The adjacent properties are either vacant, industrial, or commercial with one residential rental. The proposed use is an institutional/office type use, which is compatible. Customary services such as water, sewer, roads, and garbage collection are available to this site. The applicant has proposed a landscape plan which was reviewed by staff and found to be acceptable. That landscape plan has now been further amended by the addition of the wall and the hedges. The applicant provided a photometric plan which indicates that there will not be excessive light spill off-site. The photometric plan was found to be acceptable. The applicant has provided the required letter from the TPS pursuant to Palm Beach County review of the project. The applicant has stated to staff that the clients of this facility would be dropped off to the site, and as such, there will not be a great deal of traffic generated by the operations. Although the code does not currently require any parking to be provided on the site, the applicant is providing on-site parking. This will help mitigate any off-site impacts and result in no increased parking demand off-site. So from a staff perspective, all of our comments have been satisfied. Now, for the board, if you choose to approve this project, the motion would be as follows. The Planning and Zoning Board recommends approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving the site plan application SP 20-11 to allow for the construction of a 6,508 square foot medical office building with associated landscaping and parking on properties known as 47 West 14th Street and 55 West 14th Street, identified by parcel control numbers 5643423306 003 0110 and 5643423306 003 0130, subject to the following conditions. 1. Construction must be initiated within 18 months of the effective date of this resolution in accordance with Section 3160B of the City Code of Ordinances. Demolition, site preparation, and/or land clearing shall not be considered construction. Building permit application and associated plans and documents shall be submitted in its entirety and shall not be accepted by city staff in a partial or incomplete manner. 2. A 2-year landscaping performance bond for 110% of the value of landscaping and irrigation shall be required before a certificate of occupancy is issued for this site. 3. The City Council authorizes city staff to approve future amendments to the site plan administratively, so long as the site plan does not deviate greater than 5% from the originally approved site plan. 4, this development must receive final certificate of occupancy from the city for all buildings and/or units approved within 5 years of the approval of the adopting resolution, or the adopting resolution shall be considered null and void, requiring the applicant to resubmit application for site plan approval and reinitiate the site plan approval process. 5, all future advertising must state that the development is located in the city of Riviera Beach. Fees and penalties in accordance with City Code Section 31-554 will be levied against the property owner and/or business for violation of this condition. 6, once approved, this resolution shall supersede any previous site plan approval resolutions associated with this property, causing previous site plan approval resolutions to be null and void. 7, the applicant shall replat the 2 properties to combine them prior to the issuance of a building permit for this location. 8, the applicant shall submit a revised site plan showing a 6-foot opaque wall with hedges on both sides around the perimeter of the property, with the wall being 4 feet in height in the front setback. The wall and landscaping must be installed prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. 9, the applicant shall submit a revised site plan showing the revised location of the outside sitting area shifted away from the abutting property to the south as agreed to and as possible. And that concludes my presentation, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Just one moment. We have other guests. Is it possible that we can get some more chairs and spread out further? I wouldn't mind if residents are also socially distanced in the corner over there. So let's take a moment and accommodate some of our guests that may not have the ability to stand too very long before we move into the next session. Can we get some extra chairs, staff? And I would welcome our guests who are standing. Please join us at one of the chairs over here so that you don't have to stand so long.
What are you doing right now? Getting chairs? I'll get it. There's one chair over here they can take. They'll stand in order right now. Miss, yeah. I didn't mean to make you work. It's okay. I'm so sorry.
Okay, thanks. That should be sufficient. Just want to make sure that our guests are accommodated.
And can we verify everyone in here is in here for the first item? There's no one in here for Berkeley Landing right now?
Let me pose a question to the board. Would we like for the applicant to come forward, since we've heard from staff, and we'll just go straight on and we can reserve our questions for both staff and the applicant simultaneously. So if we have the applicant come forward, if you can introduce yourself, the name of your firm, your association with this project, and your name, and speak directly into the mic, please.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. How are you?
Good evening.
My name is Sam Rogatinsky, and I'm the applicant. And I'm here tonight to introduce myself as the applicant who is proposing a medical detox facility on 55 and 47 West 14th Street. Let me take a minute to explain what a medical detox is so there is no confusion.
You can clarify that for a viewing audience. I'm pretty sure that we know the difference between a
Okay.
detox facility and a sober home, but for a viewing audience, please feel free to delineate that for them.
Thank you. A medical detox is not a sober home and is not a long-term rehabilitation facility. The length of stay at a medical detox is anywhere between 10 to 28 days maximum. After that period of time, the patient leaves the detox and is transported to a regular rehab where they would stay for 3 to 4 months. The newly constructed building we propose is only a detox Res 1 medical detox facility where the longest stay would be 28 days. A medical detox has 24-hour nursing and physician care. It is regulated by the Department of Children and Family Services and the Department of Health and Agency for Healthcare Administration. Every medical detox has a licensed pharmacy regulated by the state as well. The staff is regulated, and there's both a medical director who admits each patient, and there's a psychologist on staff as well. The rules require registered nurses, doctor, psychologists, and licensed behavioral technicians. The medical detox is inspected twice a year and is subject to surprise inspections by the Department of Health and DCF. People who check into a detox do not drive to the detox. They are picked up by the detox in an unmarked car, and if they need to go to an appointment, they are escorted by the detox staff who stay with them and bring them back. They do not leave the detox unattended, and they do not get any outside visitors while they are in detox. Essentially, it's a closed program that with a gate around the facility or a wall, and the only people coming in are the shift nurses and behavioral techs. The detox can be compared to a boutique hospital staffed by professionals. I picked downtown core because it is the most intense zoning in the city. I started this project around 2008, where I started to deal with Jeff Gagnon, and he told me, you'll be much happier if you are able to put together only downtown core. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because Viking owns the whole city. So I ended up buying a small piece of property that Viking wanted, and then I was able to trade them for that piece, for this piece, because I wanted both pieces to be downtown core. Downtown core, as you know, allows, as Ms. Savage said, allows for intense uses like hospitals, nursing homes, ALFs, and obviously those uses are very, very intense. Being that I have built a detox before, and I'm a partner in one in Pompano, I know exactly what goes on. A lot of people think that it might bring a certain element, but it really doesn't. It actually improves the neighborhood. It makes it, especially when you build a beautiful building. I'm not the zoning guy. I am a lawyer, but I'm not, I don't claim to be anything about zoning. I just wanted to show you some of the images, renderings of the medical detox that I want to build on 14th Street, and then I'll pass it to my attorney, Jim Green.
Sure, are you ready for, okay, it's just going to be a hard picture there? Okay.
This is one design.
So, sir, you're going to need to speak into a microphone, or else the TV won't pick you up.
Okay. Let me do one at a time. Here is one design. This is the actual design that you guys are looking at in the site plan. We have two different designs, both occupy both lots, and basically this one is one kind of a design that we came up with, and then we have another one that's a different one. Let me get that one so we can show that one as well. Oh, here it is. And we haven't decided 100% on the outside. The building is 6,500 square feet, so we can really still make changes to the outside.
We have visitors here, so if you didn't mind sharing, thank you.
Another thing I wanted to share with the Planning and Zoning Board is we had our community meeting over at Jay's Ministries, and one of the things that we made a commitment to Jay's and Mayor Ronnie Felder that I know that he has a facility there for men who need detox every once in a while. And he told me straight up that there are going to be times where someone needs detox because they, for whatever reason, they need it, they're not able to go and get it because the hospital will just not see them. And we are going to come up with a program that will be to help people from Jay's Ministries as well. He told me that I should make sure to let you know that, and we're committed to doing that. So I'm just going to pass along to Jim now.
Thank you.
May I remove my mask?
Sure you can.
My name is James K. Green. I'm a lawyer in West Palm Beach. My office address is Suite 1650 in the Esperante Building at 222 Lakeview Avenue, West Palm Beach. I've been in practice here in Palm Beach County and throughout the state of Florida and other states since 1976. I came back to Florida after graduating from law school. I initially worked in the public defender's office and then was a partner with Rendell Brown and then with Judge Barry. Later, he became a judge later, Barry Cohen and Jim Eisenberg. I've been on my own since 1991 after Barry became a judge. I practice primarily federal, constitutional, and civil rights law, both in Palm Beach County, throughout the state of Florida, and in various other federal courts around the country. I have, in the past 25 years, done a lot of mental health reform litigation against the state of Florida and represented a number of treatment providers and residents of treatment facilities. Did the Jeffrey O. versus City of Boca Raton case back before Judge Middlebrooks in the early 2000s. I just want to comment on a couple of things. First of all, we agree with everything that the staff said in its presentation. We agree to all the conditions set forth in its recommendation. We certainly agree that this is this proposed detoxification and residential level 1 treatment facility is less intensive than hospitals, which are permitted in this zoning district, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, or even outpatient surgical facilities where patients come and go. There'll be very little traffic impact here. You've seen the renderings. It'll be I think a wonderful addition to this neighborhood. Right now, they're just empty, overgrown lots, and my recollection, having driven through Riviera Beach over the years and visited people in Riviera Beach, is that nothing has been done to that property in at least 25, if not 35 years. I think this would be, as I said, a tremendous addition. In addition to addressing some of the staff's concerns, my client made a significant amount of outreach to the neighbors. One neighbor had written a letter opposing the proposed facility or expressing concerns about it. He went and addressed those concerns by agreeing to the 6-foot wall and the landscaping on both sides. As Sam indicated, this facility will be regulated, highly regulated by DCF with multiple inspections every year. He did build a detox on 17th Street, which is operated by another treatment provider now, but I think the staff can confirm this, that there have been 0 911 calls to that facility in the last few years. I think we clearly meet the criteria for zoning. The CRA had indicated its opposition to this proposal, and I'd like to just address that very briefly. I just got involved in this case a couple of weeks ago, and I did put in a call to Mike Haygood, who's a former co-counsel of mine in a couple of matters over the years, and I wasn't able to speak with him. But notably, the CRA memo only attached one page from the CRA plan, and I'd like to give you the full context of that, which shows kind of the problem with the neighborhood, with this particular neighborhood. Let's see. I'd like to have this. If I may kind of pass through up here, they only attach one page of the CRA plan.
Sure, if you wanted to hand it to Board Member Gatlin, he can
Okay,
read
I'm
it,
sorry.
and he'll pass it on down, which is okay.
They only attached one page of the relevant part of the CRA plan, which is page 48. He did not attach page 49, page 50, page 51, which graphically shows how basically underdeveloped and underutilized this part of the city is, and that would be on page 51. And also, I think it's important to keep in mind as a matter of law that the CRA plan is subservient to the town or the city's zoning code, which clearly permits this kind of use, and also is subservient to the comp plan. And as the city's planner indicated, this is consistent with both this proposed use is consistent with the zoning code and the comp plan. So should I just hand this?
Sure, just hand it to Board Member Gatlin, the area that you want him to see, and then he'll just pass it down.
Yeah, I attached the cover page and then page 40, I think it's 48 of the, and then the other pages that were not included with the CRA report. And we think that's very important because the other pages clearly show that.
Oh, go back to the podium, and that way, okay. And Mr. Gallo will pass it down. Okay, okay.
And frankly, there are no standards, there are no specific guidelines as to what's permitted or not permitted. Right now, there's a boatyard across the street. There are a couple of residential, a couple of residences nearby, but there are a lot of empty lots.
Sure, we're familiar because we live here.
Right.
So we know the area. As a matter of fact, I live around the corner from it. And I drive by it every single day.
And my client has done, as I said, a significant amount of community outreach. We have a number of either residents in the area or other concerned citizens who are here to support the need. I'd like to touch on one thing before turn this over to the board, and this will be the I'm going to say West 47th applicant Exhibit 1, and this is a table from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. It's a federal organization that identifies what services, treatment services are available for mental health and substance abuse. Interestingly, the last table that they have for Florida data is that in 2017, there were 1,231,000 people in Florida who had one or more diagnoses of substance use disorder. And however, there were 1,178,000 people who were needing but not receiving treatment for substance use disorder. And I'd like to approach and hand this, make this part of the record.
You can pass it that way.
As I think we've demonstrated the need. We've shown you the renderings. We've indicated that this is a less intensive, less traffic kind of use than other uses, that medical type uses that are permitted in the neighborhood. I'd like to direct your attention also, and I don't want to take up any more time than I need to make the record, but if you could take a look at Jeff Gagnon's letter dated September 15th, 2017, which I believe is in the packet, and where he identifies that that the proposed use is silent on detoxification or drug or alcohol treatment center uses, but he says the operational characteristics of an assisted living facility would typically be comparable to that of a detoxification use. And he also reminds that everyone that this is also subject to the reasonable accommodation provisions provided by the Federal Fair Housing Act and the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act. The people who decide to get treatment and no longer use illegal substances are a protected class under both the Fair Housing Act as protection against discrimination based on handicap, and under the ADA, which protects against discrimination based on disability. We would urge that you listen carefully to the various neighbors and other supporters, and listen to the staff's recommendation and recommend approval. And unless you have any questions of me at this time, I'll be quiet and sit down.
Well, I guess you gentlemen can really just tag team. If that's the end of your comments, then we're going to, no?
No, not yet. He just made a quick little mistake.
Sure.
The letter from Jeff Gagnon was not from 2017. It's from 2019. That's a previous project that I completed on 45 West 17th. And as you know, you all live in the neighborhood. You were saying, I already took an old building that they ripped copper out. That was a disaster. That while I was doing construction, people ripped out the copper twice. I had to hire guards. I hired guards. I had to hire dogs. I hired dogs. We finished the project, and that's a project that is done. And
where was this?
45 West 17th Street. If you could drive by tonight, I drove by here to say hi when I went by, but I did that job. In fact, I think it's the nicest building in the 10 blocks. That's just my opinion, but you know, if you drive by, you'll see it's beautiful. I took the mayor through it. He couldn't believe it. He was like, "When did you do this?" I'm like, "I did it in the last administration. I did this in the last administration." But I met with DeGraff and Wright. I'm sorry, I heard what happened to him, and I met with everybody, and I did a great job. If you drive by, you'll see. And the mayor asked the police, "Are there 911 calls?" And he said, "There's no 911 calls there. It's perfect. In fact, the neighborhood has improved since I made it." So what I'm saying is, you should take a look at it. I've done this kind of stuff. I've done it in Pompano. I'm doing it in Cape Coral. It doesn't really. It makes the neighborhood nicer. You'll see that. You can go by and take a look. You'll see that what I did in your neighborhood.
May I ask one question, sir? What building is it? I pass by there all the time on 17th.
Okay, so there's an empty lot on one side. If you go to the corner of 17th, you know that guy who does the boat fixing? It's a big warehouse. He has a whole block.
Okay,
And then across the street from him, Viking owns that corner
okay.
with the lot. Right next door to it, there's a wall around a beautiful building that I completely gutted out. I completely made it beautiful. The tax base has gone up, I'll tell you that, that's for sure. And you can see that it's not like I put a detox here and the whole neighborhood's falling apart. It's not falling apart. It made that nicer. People came and told me, "Wow, I can't believe you did this to that property." Because there were really people with smoking crack. I had to kick them out myself with dogs. It was not a joke.
What is the name of that building? You keep talking fast.
Oh, there's no name. I'm sorry. There's no name on it. It's called. It's operated by URP Detox. That's who operates it.
Oh.
And they have a location here and in Hollywood.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and handle this in a more of a methodical way. So we're going to start with board member comments. Please, gentlemen, don't have a seat yet because we're going to have questions for you. But if you get tired, please feel free to sit. So
Okay.
we're going to open. Okay, we have
Miss,
more.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
not to disturb you, I'd like to hear from the public first, if that's okay with the
Yes, we're
board.
still accumulating cards.
I know, but I want to hear what they are saying. You have a
This is all of them?
Madam
Okay.
Chair, I agree with Board Member Shepherd.
Okay.
And I would also suggest, in the essence of time, that we keep this strictly to this project.
All right,
For the
okay,
essence of
so
time.
we have a consensus here that we're going to open it up to public comments. Yes, Madam Clerk. And we're going to keep each comment to 3 minutes. And as I call your name, I want to put these in order of, okay, I guess these are in order. Okay, these are in order of how people had it amended, Madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, so we're just going to go ahead to public comments at this time. We're going to keep them to 3 minutes. We're going to start with Mr. James K. Green, followed by Reverend Burrs, followed by Mary Bram. If they could stand in that order. Mr. James K. Green, if you're present, please. Is that you?
I'm the lawyer, yes.
You had a public comment card in?
Well, sometimes, in some jurisdictions, they gotta fill them out, sometimes they don't.
Oh, I see. Okay, just a bit of formality. Okay.
This will save some time.
Okay, all right. Okay, then the next person would be Reverend Burrs.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Do we have sanitizer, somebody to come and spray? We usually do that every, you know.
Sure, we'll let staff address that. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. And we'll just pause a moment between each person to give us a time to sanitize the area. And Madam Clerk, you are, Madam Clerk, you're keeping count?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right, welcome.
Madam Chair and board members, Planning and Zoning Board, Reverend William H. Burrs. I just heard about this this business anticipating on coming here. It seems like it's already here. But my concern is when we want to try to, I'm not suggesting that the peoples that goes to this facility are bad peoples, righty peoples, and et cetera. But we want to bring prominent businesses, other businesses here, like grocery stores or restaurants, and et cetera. And when you might hear of this name, detox, people really, first thing go through their mind, some type of drug activities have been involved in these type things. And it might deter them from coming here. We see Carter, this is a way placing that, it seems like they're on the main Carter in Riviera Beach. And I remember in the 50s, in the 60s, this Carter had fine restaurants and shopping plazas and et cetera. Had 3 major grocery stores, 4 banks, and we want to try to bring these businesses back. But when you hear, when they come, I'm not saying there's a bad business, but it seemed like to me they ought to find a different location than still being on our main Carter, because that name, brings a negative thought to people's mind when they want to bring a major business here. Now, my question maybe to them, has they tried to put a place like this on a main Carter in another municipalities like Palm Beach Gardens, Lake Park, and et cetera? So this is my concern. We want to try to, our city is going backwards instead of moving forward. And I'm not putting the business down. The building looks, the design of the building looks beautiful, but the name, people don't want to bring a business in here when it's related to that name, detox. Like I said, being redundant, that let's face facts, that you wouldn't want your business close around a business like that. Not that the people are criminals and et cetera, but just the name will bring a negative thought to people's mind when they want to come to a location. So my suggestion is that maybe we need to think of, see if they can find a different location somewhere else. And is there's another, again, can they tell me is there's another municipalities where they have this type of business on their main Carter among major business like restaurants and motels, banks, and et cetera? That's my concern, because we really trying to bring our city back alive. Because let's face it, it's almost dead. And I think this type facilities won't help it none with in that location. So y'all think seriously about that. Think about the citizens of Riviera Beach. what they want in their city too. We want to see our city grow forward. Every city moving forward, but ours is going backwards. So please think about that.
Thank you, Mr. Burrs. Next, Ms. Mary Brown.
In addition to the
Welcome.
Good evening, Ms. Mary Brown. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Ms. Mary Brown. I cannot imagine that we would engage in this type of entity that we want to put in our reimagined city. I took some pictures here of this site plan here, because this is what Ms. Brown did. On one side, you have a home. In the back, coming down our main corridor, which is 13th Street, you have a home. And from that distance, I can see that people's engaged in families' affairs. Across the street is the boatyard with another home that sits there. On that house is another house. There's a vacant lot there. Right down the street is where our city hall was, that we're anticipating on engaging our city and building back up our city in all of those areas and stuff there. I cannot imagine this madness. So now I know where Mr. Sam got this fantastic idea from our mayor, Felder, because he kept integrating Mr. Felder's name. We all know, Ms. Brown done been through this with this city here. Viking has come in and robbed us, so now I know that Viking is in on this deal as well. We as residents, we imagine ourselves as having a better Riviera Beach. Right down the street, you have St. Mary's with a detox center. 11th Street over here, you have a sober home. We have sober homes all over this place here. I have pictures here, whereas over on the Broadway corridor there, they sleeps over there. I have pictures of that. We have transits in and out of our city. Napa is right on the corner, that auto place that sits there. The attorney said that one neighbor here objected to it. It doesn't matter in that area where they live in. We are the residents that want to imagine our city being better and living better. We're anticipating building homes and condominiums all up in this area here. Your project, it may be a good project to you, but it does not fit with what we are and who we are in the city here and where we want to go at. Shame on these peoples here that gave Mr. Sam this brilliant idea. He made mention about the J Ministry. You got those drug addicts still walking up and down the street. They're just being housed. We cannot help them. It is up to them. This is an individual thing. He made mention about the parking. 10 parking spaces with a handicap. And he's going to put up a wall. I'm so tired of hearing people trying to wall people in when we are trying to expand open areas and stuff so our visitors, and we can tap into the revenue and the greatness that our city has here. He made mention about a couple more things, but I know I only have 3 minutes that I can go through my phone here because this is what Ms. Graham does. She rides around this city here, and she advocates for the good of this city here, and to put a detox place there right on the heart of how we imagine ourselves as being a city, and where our forefathers said was a beautiful view over on that water there that we could walk across, and 14th Street comes right out of our main event center. You come right across the street of Broadway and go right down that street there.
Time, Madam Chair.
Enough is enough. Do not approve this, period. I don't care what he say. We are the entire city here that reimagine ourselves, living better and doing better. And down the street, it's a body shop there, and they're going to move out of there too, because we're going to get rebuilt here, like we always said that we are. We're not saying that your business is not a good business, but it doesn't fit. It's not a fit for us.
Time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We have next Mr. Mark Lafazier. And followed by, Ms. Doretta Polk next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm happy to be here. First of all, I'm happy to be alive, you know, because I know the COVID virus has affected a lot of our community, and then we are victimized from it. However, for this particular program, the reason why when Mr. Rogotensky talked about it, and then I became interested in it, is that I know for a fact our people are usually victims of drugs use, high rate of suicide, high rate of delinquency, high rate of criminal behavior. And particularly now, we have new folks coming into this particular neighborhood. And I know the African community has been affected, you know, and victim of crime and high rate of drug abuse over the years. I've been living here for take it back, for 54 years. So you excuse my accent. 54 years, I still have an accent, so that tell you, right? So, but 54 years I've been living here. I live in New York, and I've seen what drugs has done to particularly African-American neighborhood, Caribbean American neighborhood. And now with Haitian coming in, because they have a different language, most people tend to ignore that particular community. But they're also into drug use. You know, and what I have seen, when I've seen the statistic, so many people are victim of it. But I look at the other way, the other side of this particular project. I see the economic viability from it. Having African-American, Haitian, Caribbean, and others, because we are not practicing any kind of racial discrimination. But I see, you know, African-American social workers, psychologists, medical doctors, Haitian, and all of us here. And also the program is a transitional program, meaning people are not going to be there for a long period of time. After that, we did transit out to a more permanent program if they don't make it. But we need to understand that we have a lot of people coming out that need help, that need assistance, that need mental health. And this is what I like from it. And I'm here to you know, I understand what the beautiful lady that said, you know, about the community, and then we need to rethink our community. Yes, we need to rethink. We need to have better projects, better schools, you know, for our people. We need to have education for our people. And then I was hoping having that kind of a particular program where a lot of us can be part of it. We can get together. We can enhance our community, and that's what I'm here for. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. I've been doing that. I've been a doctor for over 25 years, and also a psychologist in New York City Public School, and also in the New York market since 1981. So I've seen and I've lived it. And I was in the army, and I've seen people, I've seen African American life that was destroyed because of drugs. I've seen people being victim. And then when something like that come up, and I look at the other side of it. I look at the having a community, not because it's Mr. Rogotensky per se, you know, but I'm looking at my own community. Being a black man, that's what I'm looking at.
Oh.
Time, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Retta Polk, followed by Mr. Thomas Boynton.
Thank you, Walter.
Good evening. My name is Doretta Polk. I'm a resident of Riviera Beach, and I want to come out, and I apologize. I really do not come out to your meetings because of the Delta variant. I do come to the council meeting, but this was so important to me to come out to share my views of this detox center that was going to be on 14th Street. Now, the lawyer said that he built one already on 17th Street. as Ms. Bram said, we do have a detox at St. Mary's. When does this end? You're going to put one on 20th Street? Every couple of blocks you go and put one on 20th Street? We have problems of the homeless. Yes, these people need help with their conditions of sobriety. They do need help, but we do not want to put it on the Reimagine Riviera Beach. And he said several times about the mayor, Mayor Felder, this and that. Mayor Felder, I don't think came to one Reimagine Riviera Beach meeting that we had. We had 4 sections, and I don't think I was there all 4 sessions at Wells Recreation Gym, and I didn't see him. But yet he can meet with this young man here, and oh yes, oh, I didn't know that was on 17th Street. No, he's the face of Riviera Beach. He should have been to those projects, every project, at least one, and he wasn't. So let's reimagine Riviera Beach and make us proud. And I sympathize with these people, but we do not need one on every 3 blocks. And he's already built one on 14th Street. Now he wants to come down to, no, he wants to build one on 14th Street. He's already got one on 17th Street. Enough is enough. No. I implore each and every one of you, chair and each member, to vote no on this item. We do not need it. Another thing the young lady was talking about, because my field before I retired was medical. She never once said, she said that we have gonna have the trash and this and the other. She never mentioned about how are they going to properly dispose of the medical waste. This is very, very important. So I implore you all. And another thing, saying that we talk to the neighbors, I never got any notification concerning this. Never. Not one notification concerning this. So I don't know who he put these out to, but Mrs. Park never got one. And when I found out they were going to put this on 14th Street, no. We don't imagine any detox center on 14th Street. And I implore each and every one of you to vote this down. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Thomas Boynton, I may pronounce your name wrong. I apologize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Tomas Boynton. I'm a resident of Lake Park, but we've owned the 2 houses that are immediately behind the property since 1998. And so we have bought into the vision of Riviera Beach. We purchased those properties before 13th Street was, the new 13th Street was developed there. We see the vision for what the port is and the beautiful building that we have here. So we want to share in the growth of Riviera Beach and in a way that's going to make it beneficial and beautiful for its residents and visitors. I appreciate, once we saw the yellow signs that went up and notifying us that this was going to be before the board, we reached out to Mary Savage Dunham, and we appreciate that she put us in contact with the owners. We met with Sam Rogutinsky, the owner and the developer, and I would say he was very open for working with our concerns, because our concerns were for our 2 tenants. That we have 2 buildings. Their bedrooms are at the back of those buildings, which would then be the closest to his new facility. The one thing that put me to rest, I feel more comfortable, is when I did see his building on 17th Street. You could see that it was a very nice building, that they put a lot of money into it. It had a metal roof in it. It had landscaping. It wasn't something that was done cheaply just to generate a profit. They put money into it. I think the land is wonderful that's there. I would love to see different development there, but with it being under so many different ownerships, I don't know if that's going to be a reality or how that would be. If I don't see Viking selling it, I don't see it. So if somebody's going to put $1 million and build a facility that would be attractive, would serve a purpose, and we don't feel that our neighbors are going to be with the wall. We appreciate that they've included that there'd be a wall around it with hedges on both sides. Our one request that I saw that was different was that it was noted as an opaque wall. I think originally it was supposed to be a vinyl wall, and we met with Sam, and we felt that there was a stone wall, a prefab stone wall, that was very attractive, and I have a picture that I could put in for the record. That would be more quieter, so instead of a vinyl fence, at least in between our properties, it would reduce the sound. I do support this endeavor. I do also support Riviera Beach. So I don't think that they go against each other. I think this will be a beautiful facility. I think it will serve a purpose. I think it won't serve Riviera Beach residents. I think the people that will be there will be people from out of town that have insurance, but it's going to increase the tax base. Right now, as I said, we've been there since 1998. There's a lot of empty, vacant lots. So to see something actually developed is, I think, a step forward, even if it isn't our ideal where we're going for. Thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome. And we have Holland Daphnis and Salsa Basquin. Holland, you're Holland? Okay, welcome.
Well, good evening to all of you. I have something I'd like to read for all of you to just make it simple. My name is Alan Daphnis. I am the general manager of Palm Beach Radio Group. I first met Sam over 13 years ago when he purchased his first radio station, 1340 AM and 96.1 FM. From day one, Sam told me that he wanted to build a network of Caribbean radio stations to include both the Haitian and Jamaican communities. Over the next 12 years, I've watched Sam acquire WPBR, WLVJ, WNZO, WTPA, WHSR, WZPP, and WZOP, covering Palm Beach, Broward, Orlando, and Tampa, and very soon, Bradenton and Sarasota. All these stations either serve the Haitian or Jamaican communities, even though they are more profitable formats that exist. Sam has been a supporter of the Haitian community, and he has supported Haitian and Jamaican businesses and nonprofits throughout the years. 4 years ago, Sam and I discussed our vision of building a medical detox that will provide a detox and mental health services to the Haitian and Jamaican communities because there is a complete lack of licensed medical facilities that cater to our community. There is a big problem in the community, and we often do not check into a medical detox because of the stigma associated with detox or mental health. I understand how hard it has been to recover from an addiction, and I know that if more Haitians and Jamaicans had a program that catered to their community, more people will be helped in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And Salsa Basquin. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Salusa Basquin. It's a pleasure to be here. I live in West Palm. I've been teaching here in Palm Beach County since 1998. I've taught over at Palm Beach Lakes. I taught over at Bear Lakes. And I'm presently over at Coniston Middle School. I have my own children living and going to school in Riviera Beach. I live in West Palm. I drive my son every day over here to Inlet Grove. I have 2 young men that I adopted, and they both live on West 28th Street, along with another lady that I also adopted because she was homeless, did not have a place to go. Those 2 young men, they came from Haiti, did not have family members here. Just to let you know that Riviera Beach and I, we're all one. Now, you probably have never seen me in Riviera Beach, or you probably have seen me all the time. I feel the concern of Ms. Brown, our lady here, and the pastor that spoke. But for Riviera Beach to move forward, we have to make some bold moves. Just like Hallen, 12 years ago, I was offered a position with the Nouvelle Lumière group. I am the director of marketing and advertising. And yes, we started out with the idea that we're going to have a Haitian radio and Jamaican radio. Well, guess who the radio has served the most? It has served every single individual who had a business from Palm Beach Gardens all the way down to Broward. It doesn't serve Sam a whole lot, but it helps our community. It helps our community to grow. It helps our community to grow politically. We have been able to elect more officials because of these radio stations. But let's get to the issue, because I don't have much time. I think we probably have another minute. My little cousin was one of those kids that purchased drugs in the neighborhood, got overdosed, got thrown in the canal right behind his house. He was 18, had just graduated from Palm Beach Gardens, from the medical program, with a scholarship, with a full scholarship to go up to UF. The drug dealers in this community are not going to be coming from Sam's. They're already here in the community. We know who they are. The alcohol is already in our community. We know where they are. We need to bring new changes. We have to foster the changes that we need to bring forward. If we take every individual that comes in and say, hey, I have a project, and I would like that project to come in, yes, I understand. We have to look at everything. But I can guarantee you one thing. Over the past 12 years, the gentleman standing behind me, he is bringing something positive. That's what he does. And I stand behind him because he brings things that are positive, and he gives the community a chance to participate in that which he brings, to bring new ideas. You may not want another detox center in Riviera Beach, but Riviera Beach needs another detox center for the people that we have here. We had one homeless home that was here, and that was chased away. And now our homeless are scattered all around Riviera Beach.
Time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If you want your property value to go up, you need to bring businesses that are positive and that will help build the property values that you want to go up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, all right. So at this point, we have heard our public comments, and we are going to go to our board members for their questions. And we're going to start with, okay? We're going to start with Michelle. Okay,
go to your left.
with me. All right. I didn't know if you were pointing that way or like this. Okay, all right. If I may have the applicant stand forward too, please. Thank you. Okay. This is for a for-profit business. It's not going to be nonprofit. Could you share with me who is going to own this facility?
Sure, me. I'm going to be the operator.
Okay. And
Madam
South-
Chair, just to piggyback off on your question about the owner of the facility, can you clarify for the record if you are a doctor?
No, I'm a lawyer.
Okay, and so you'll be the sole owner?
I will be the sole owner.
Okay, so there's no doctors that will be owners?
The Department of Children and Family and the Department of Health require that there be a
let's get you to speak into the microphone.
So when you have a medical detox, a lot of medical detoxes are owned by companies, huge companies, public
Right,
companies.
but in essence of time, can you just
Yeah.
answer the question?
You must have a medical director when you have a
No,
detox.
that's not the question. The question is, will it be owned by a physician or a physician's group?
No.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair.
Okay. My concern here in South Florida is the recovery capital of America. It's also the nation's relapse capital of America, too. We have 22 million residents here in Florida. There are over 15,500, close to 20,000 detox centers in South Florida, meaning that for every 1,500, I did my research, so your data that you shared with us was 2016, 2017, and I'm speaking up-to-date data, but please indulge me, because please indulge me. No, please indulge me. Let me get my comments out.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So we have roughly, for every 1.5 and some change, a detox center for that sort of population. We're not here really to debate those statistics. What I am saying is we have a lot of detox centers already here in our state of Florida. And our question here, and my question here is, we as a city are looking at reimagining Riviera Beach. One of our guests here said they attended all of those sessions in which the residents were polled as to what they wanted to see in their city. Dental offices, urgent care facilities, high-end restaurants, hotels, etc., right on E Avenue, the streets that across there, and on Broadway. I'm really trying to understand how this type of facility is going to fit into our narrative of Reimagine Riviera Beach and what the residents want. Granted, it's a very nice building, it's a beautiful building, you do good, obviously good work, but how does that fit in? I even want to know, have any of you attended any of the Reimagine sessions to understand what our residents have concern as to what they want to see Broadway, E Avenue, and the side streets manifest to?
First, you made a number of comments, so I'd like to comment first on the number of detox facilities. The number that you cited is just totally wrong. And you can look at the DCF website, and they'll have a list of the detox facilities, as well as other treatment facilities with the accurate number of licensed treatment facilities in the state of Florida. Second, yes, there are relapses, and I think if you talk to any treatment provider, the treatment providers will say there are too many relapses. That's just the nature of the disorder. But the answer to relapses is not to deny zoning for treatment facilities, as I indicated from the.
Could you speak into the mic? I'm having problems
I'm
listening
sorry.
to you.
As we indicated with the statistics, and those are the last federal statistics that are available, there is a huge need for people who have substance use disorders and have not been able to get treatment in the last 12 months.
Sure, we don't disagree with that. We agree that there is a need. We're just trying to determine here as a community, as a board, if this facility is the right project for the city of Riviera Beach, looking at our broader aspect of what we're doing to move ourselves forward, in addition to making bold moves. That's why I was asking if you had attended any of those sessions and listened to what the residents said that they wanted in the area where you proposed this facility.
The answer to that is no, and that's, with all due respect, that's not one of the criteria that you should consider in evaluating the application, which has been recommended for, essentially recommended for approval, or having met the criteria that you can lawfully consider. However, I have reviewed the city's comprehensive plan. I have reviewed the Community Redevelopment Agency plan, and I have reviewed the zoning code, and I see the city's vision. However, I have been in Riviera Beach. I live in West Palm Beach, but I have been in Riviera Beach hundreds of times over the last 45 years, and I can tell you that nothing is happening on 14th Street. It's just,
Okay.
So I do think that this is a bold move, but the fact that it's a substance use disorder treatment facility is not a reason for denying it. In fact, cities, and I'm sympathetic to some of the concerns that people have expressed about, we don't need another detox facility. Well, the fact of the matter is, I think we do need another detox facility.
It's not necessarily a detox center. We as a board look whether it's a fast food restaurant, whether it's a daycare. We look at all sorts of projects, and we look at the broader picture. Is it within the vision of where we want to go as a city, and is it also desirous of our residents? Because really, who has the last word as far as this board is concerned would be our residents. What I would like to do is not dominate the conversation and open it up to our board members here so they can get questions out to you as well, if that's okay. So I'm just going to let it go free-flowing, and whoever board member wants to put up their hand or finger first, we're going to have at it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would just like to state, per the city's recommendation, it does state that the board should clearly state findings on the record as to why, and also our recommendation should relate back to the Land Development Code and the general health, safety, and welfare of the public. So we are making our case to get to that point. And as a board, we do have that authority to decide on behalf of this board and the residents what we want in our city. So, Madam Chair, I'll now defer it over to another board member. Now we'll come back with my other questions.
Board Member Wiley and
Yes.
then Board Member Shepherd.
All right, good evening, everyone. And listen to all our neighbors and everyone on both sides. I believe that what the land developer company, what he wants to do is bring something in positive. Even with speaking here in Mr. Basquin, we are teachers together, we talk together, and we're in the business of hope and saving kids and doing the right thing for our community. So I know where he's coming from, and I feel his passion. And his idea may be to be, for the owner, to be able to bring something to a community that people are going to need to be able to survive and be able to conquer their fears and the problems that they have, and then be able to prosper from them. I understand that completely. But listening to the community and being here for all my life, born and raised, living on 13th Street myself, and I know nothing has been done in 25 years to certain areas. Given our new city manager that is coming in and our assistant city manager, Ms. Deidre Jacobs, Reimagining Riviera Beach is a big thing right now, and they want to develop this city into something that's going to be great. So these empty lands, these empty lots that we have here, they're not going to be empty anymore because we have more and more people want to come in to this location, especially right across from Marina and Avenue E. We just approved the daycare over in that area also. And if possible, we're going to have the possibility of the City Hall down the street from there also. So with that being said, we want to make sure that we're putting everything in the right location, in the right vicinity, that's going to be conducive to the growth of the city. And honestly, I can't say that I really see, even though as great as this idea may be for something that it may need to be able to help people out, but looking at the growth of what the city is going to be doing in the next 10, 15 years, hopefully I'm alive to be able to see it. But is this the right place? Is this the right area for us to be able to have this facility? Now, given that it comes with the negativity of the name, because again, most people are not educated, like he was saying earlier, to be able to understand what a detox really does and what it really needs. We get that point. But it still comes off as a negative connotation as far as no one wants to be in that area. I've had the being pretty upset about it, they moved one of the sober houses next to my house where I live at, and I understand the problems that come with it. And I didn't understand that no one gave me a letter, no one gave me any information of why this house was being put next to my house, and it's been problems ever since, and it's still there. I understand that problem, all right? But in this situation, to what we're building right here, and I've been to every Reimagining Riviera Beach setup that we've had, that Mr. Evans has had, and what our vision is and what we want in our city, I don't think that this is a really good idea to put in that location, If there's a better location for that, that may not be off prime real estate, that may be off Broadway or close to the marina, close to what our redevelopment is, maybe it's a great idea to put it somewhere else. But in that area where we're gonna have a lot of different places coming in, like you spoke of, Ms. Clark, about, you know, new residents, new houses being put in, restaurants, you name it. In that situation, I don't think that this would be a good idea to be able to put in that location, in that specific location. That's just my idea on it.
May I
Board
respond?
members? Sure.
Okay. There was a suggestion, I think by Mr. Byrd, that he's just concerned about the label or the word detox. I can't remember the name of the commissioner at the far end, but she indicated earlier that she was not familiar with the 17th Street facility that Sam built. The reason she wasn't familiar with it is because detox and residential treatment facilities, because of federal confidentiality provisions, don't advertise detox center or residential treatment for substance use disorder. There will be no sign at this location indicating detox. And so I understand your kind of initial concerns, but one of the problems with that I've seen in a lot of these fair housing and Americans with Disabilities cases is, people are very supportive of the idea of substance use disorder treatment, but not in my backyard. It's got to be somewhere else. And the purpose of the Fair Housing Act is not to is to give people the right to live and, in this case, receive treatment in the location of their choice, in the dwelling of their choice. Just because it may not be perfect is not a basis for denying the federal civil rights protected by the ADA and the Fair Housing Act. But again, there will be no sign indicating that this is a detox or a substance use disorder treatment facility. In fact, as you saw from the renderings, it's would be the most attractive building for blocks on that street.
But the problem is that that's the most attractive building for any business that wants to come into Riviera Beach, given that you're going to be across from the arena, right across from our Broadway corridor. So it's going to be very, very profitable for anyone to come in that area. The thing I think we're expressing is that it won't fit into our Reimagining Riviera Beach on Broadway as what we see coming in the future, far as having that there. Like I said, the location may be the issue, because I'm all for assisting and helping people out. That's what I do. So I'm all in on that part. But my thing is that given the growth of the city and what we need to do right now as reimagining the city of Riviera Beach, and like I said, because of what our city manager and our assistant city manager is bringing to the city right now and getting things done, right now that location can be better suited if it was something sort of business, some type of restaurant, some type of, and that's just how I see it. My degree is in business also, so I understand that aspect of it. So that's the only dilemma I would have on that, and probably a better location. To me, if it was another location, that'd be better, but given that location that's right there, that is prime real estate for the city of Riviera Beach.
And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Shepherd, and I just want to share with you that we know there are empty lots, and some of the owners of those lots are cash empty and land rich, and that's problematic. And then we'll defer to Ms. Shepherd.
I just want to add something. I understand what you guys are saying, but the land there, I know you say it's a lot of money, but CRA, when they wanted to buy it from me, they offered me $25,000. I bought it for $40,000. Last month, another lot on 15th went for $22,000. I'm just letting you know, because I'm around, I've been here for 10 years, I know what's going on. I have a lot next to, on Avenue E. Ms. Jenkins offered me $25,000 for it. So you guys are not like, you're saying, oh, big things are gonna happen. I hope big things happen, but this is the way to get things started. This is the way to get things started. Forget the stigma of, oh, there's gonna be drug addicts walking around. They're not gonna be here, because you know why? Because they're in the detox facility getting help. And yes, it's true that a lot of them will come from out of state because maybe their insurance is better or whatever. There's Obamacare, we accept Obamacare. We accept every kind of insurance. And I hate to say the name Mayor Felder, but he's the one who I talk to. I don't know. If everybody wanted to talk to me, I talk to everybody. I don't care. I'm friendly like that. But at the end of the day, we are going to apply so we can do Medicaid. He wanted to apply to do Medicaid, but his facility's old. Medicaid came and inspected it, and they want something new. So we'll apply for Medicaid, and hopefully we can get it. But what I'm saying is that you guys are thinking, oh, it's so valuable. No one offered me more than $40,000 a lot there since I've owned it. In fact, one just went in a foreclosure for 22, just like a few months ago. Now a foreclosure, somebody bought it and it went in a tax deed sale. Right there on the corridor. I mean, I could have bought it, I just didn't buy it because it was like, what do I need another one for? I'm trying to get something developed. They're torturing me on getting one thing developed. What do I need more land for? Sure. I could have bought it for $22,000. I didn't buy it. I was like, And you know what? Nobody, who bought it? Another investor on the courthouse steps. That's who bought it. That's who bought it. It wasn't a local person who said, oh my God, we were reimagining Riviera Beach. It was bought on the courthouse steps. Anybody could have bought it. Anybody. Any one of you could have bought it. Anybody. Nobody bought it. It went for $22,000. It's like pennies compared the way you're describing. This is on the court. I can drive you there right now and show you which lot. So yes, I agree. Eventually things happen, and your city manager is working hard. I agree. Good thing you brought him back. I know about the whole story. I've been here for 10 years. But what I'm saying is that don't think that this is going to ruin the neighborhood. It's not. It's going to make it look pretty and nice, and the building's going to be nice, just like I did in Pompano, just like I did on 17th Street. I made them really, really nice, and I get awards for them, and people are like, wow. We don't have time. I can show you pictures in Pompano. It looks like a boutique hotel. Nobody knows what's in there. It looks like a boutique hotel. So you're like, oh, yeah, because the people coming, yes, it's true. They're going to be people with insurance. However, we're also going to apply for Medicaid. We want that. Medicaid makes it very difficult. But if they come in and inspect it and say it's going to be nice, then we can do that too.
May I stop you, sir?
Sure, absolutely.
May I just stand right there. On 20th and Broadway, what's there? Explain to them, because I know what's there. Tell me what's there.
20th and Broadway.
20th and Broadway. Right across, is it BB&T? Right there, it's a gray building. Since you know everything, explain to them what that building is.
It's the
Integrated health care.
It's what?
Integrated health care.
Integrated health care. Okay, I've seen it.
Okay, what's in there? Tell them what's in there.
I think it's like an urgent care.
No, what's in there, sir? It's 3 things in there.
I don't know.
It's people that come there for mental health, and they come there for their addiction. If you walk over there and see, because I go there, my doctor, I knew her before she was even born, and she asked me to come with her. That's why I'm there. I didn't know what it was until I kept seeing all this movement,
all right,
the smoking, the trash. I'm like, what the?
And I would tell you, go see 45 West 17th. It's locked. And
Sir, I'm talking.
Okay.
Now, I've heard you ramble on.
Okay.
But I wanted them to talk. And I thank you, Madam Chair and Vice Chair, I wanted these residents to talk because I know what's over there. I go into that building, and if you tell me you're all around the building, you knew it was there. And with Reimagine coming in, I can't even, and you know what? Let me be honest. I passed the gavel to the chair to go ahead. My son died of drugs, 20 years old. Every time he came down here for treatment, he went to Faith Farm. So I know about drugs and alcohol, and I have compassion for people, but I don't have compassion for people coming in here while our city is being built out. It's going to be beautiful. You're trying to tell me they're not going to be walking around? I know what goes on over there. Sir,
that's not my facility.
I'm talking.
It's a detox.
I listened to you and your lawyer, and I found it very, very funny that you come into our city. I know it's being built out. I know that you know that Reverend Felder, as she said, never came to a meeting. And how could he talk to you? And he doesn't talk to us. I'm telling you, I am baffled that people come in here and they want to build things in our city. Family Dollar, Dollar Tree. I tell you, sir, this is not the right time for you to come into our city and remotely think that these residents do not have the compassion for you. I know I do. I know I do. My son was 20 with 2 children. If you don't think I have compassion, I do. But right now, not here. 20th Street, 18th Street, all those streets are going to be built out. So I think you need to, what you say, sell at the doorstep? Sell at the doorstep, maybe move on, because I don't think it's going to be here.
Ma'am, at this time, based upon the hostility that you've directed to me, this council, and to my client, I will ask that you recuse yourself from any further discussion.
Sir, may I say something to you? Excuse me, I sat here and I listened, and I listened, and I listened. And I'm not hostile. I'm upset with people coming in here, building out things, and here, somebody said, well, I just got here. I didn't even know the notice was out. When I picked up this package and I started reading, I said, you gotta be kidding. Recuse myself? You need to recuse yourself.
So at this point, we are going to, since I'm the chair here, I'm going to make a decision. We have heard all of the opinions of our residents, our guests, and our board. I'm sure we have more questions, so we are going to go ahead and take a vote and keep the agenda moving.
Okay, well, could I, Madam Chair,
Sure.
I'd ask for a ruling on the motion to recuse.
No, sir, you cannot. I'll speak for the chair. You're in my house. You're in the house that I live in.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can we refer to our attorney?
Yes,
Because I
that
also
was the
feel that
next
the applicant
thing.
has been hostile at the podium. So if Ms. Shepherd is going to be recused, I'm asking that our lawyer ask that the applicant be recused as well.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
And now I will ask that you be recused, ma'am.
So
Thank you,
we're
Madam
going to
Chair.
take the council's opinion of what we need to do, and then we'll move forward.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I just need to point out some rules of decorum for the meeting. And respectfully, anytime that a person wants to speak, including the applicant or another board member, they should do so by requesting to the chair permission to speak. Regarding board member Shepherd's recusal, the board member has to determine whether that board member has a voting conflict. And that is for the board member to make that determination. A voting conflict pursuant to Form 8B, which is something you would have to report, would require you as a appointed officer to abstain from voting on a measure which would inure to your special private gain or loss. You may also abstain from knowingly voting on a measure which would inure to the special gain or loss of a principal by whom you are retained. So that would be also to a family member or another business associate. And in doing so, you would have to comply with Form 8B for voting conflict. that's for your determination to make.
Madam Chair, may I address our attorney?
Yes, just one
May I-
moment.
may I- may I
Yes,
address Ms. Busby?
Ms. Shepherd, let me just get clarification from the attorney. So what you've stated revolves around conflict, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Chair. There, if I may speak, if the board member is allowed to have an opinion and share her opinion about the project. I don't,
Right.
I did not find that she was exhibiting hostility, but just sharing her opinion very passionately.
Sure, and there was not any sense of conflict because that would have been disclosed early on in our part of the meeting in which she would have to, or any of us would have to recuse ourselves. So since that is not a conflict, we are in order, if I can respectfully say that to the guests, we are in order based upon what our attorney has just delineated to this body. And at this point, we
Madam
recognize.
Chair, to the attorney and to all of you, if you all do not understand how you're, I didn't know about, 17th Street? I live on 28th Street, so I'm passing that way all the time. But I know for sure that he says he drives around the city, and if he wants to make sure that the people here in Riviera Beach don't believe that he doesn't know what's over there, I'm telling you all, go look for yourself, 20th Street. You all go look. Just stand there. You said the buses pull up, the buses, I'm passionate because I don't want my city to turn into a city that's not prospering. We're talking about reimagine. The dream is that we're moving forward. And I'm not saying that they're going to drag us back or anything. I just don't think in this quarter that we should remotely think about putting
We understand, Board Member
Oh, my
Shepherd.
goodness.
At this, I'm sorry,
Madam
go
Chair,
ahead,
I
sir.
do
Oh, my
have to
goodness.
make a record here. We are not alleging that there's a conflict of interest. We are alleging under the Florida Due Process Clause that this is a quasi-judicial body and where one of the members directs hostility to counsel and to the applicant based upon their not being residents of Riviera Beach, that constitutes a separate Florida constitutional due process basis for recusal or disqualification. So we will ask now that the original motion be treated as a motion for disqualification under the Florida constitutional protection for due process.
And again, we're going to defer to our attorney who has already given us instructions that there was not any hostility and there was not any conflict, and that is going to stand with this body. And at this point, I think it is fair to go ahead and move with the vote for this board. So I would like for...
And I'd like to make one
Sure.
matter part of the record. 10 years ago, this board engaged in similar hostility against people in recovery. I have transcripts from that. And under under the Federal Fair Housing Act of '88, we have the right to the record of historical bias against people in recovery. So I'd like to make these exhibits part of the record. One is a transcript of a hearing dated June 1st of 2011, agenda item 10, and the other is June 15th, 2011, agenda item 11, and then also an excerpt of a transcript before the City Council on June 15th, an excerpt from May 12th, 2011. So these will be
Sure, if you can
exhibits
pass them on to staff, that'd be appreciated.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair,
Why do we?
am I recognized?
Yes, you're recognized. And
Okay.
then we will recognize the applicant after, next.
Two things, Madam Chair. This application is brought forward. In our packet, it's stated as a medical building, a hospital, So I don't see how that relates to fair housing. And also, since I was recognized and I still do have the floor, I would like to make a motion that we recommend denial of this item to City Council. You need me to read the whole item A? I will do that.
Okay.
I move that we recommend for denial the resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, denying site plan application SP 20-11 from Riviera Beach Property Incorporated to allow for the construction of a 6,508 square foot medical office detox facility building with associated landscaping and parking on properties known as 47 West 14th Street and 55 West 14th Street, identified by PCN numbers 5643, 4233, 06003, 0110, and 5643, 42, 33, 06003, 0130, having a downtown mixed-use future land use designation and a downtown core zoning designation, providing for conditions of denial and providing for an effective date.
Second.
Okay, may we have a vote, Madam Clerk?
William Wiley,
No. For denial, correct?
Yes.
If you're
So-
voting for denial, then you would say in favor.
Got it. In favor, yes.
okay. Margaret Shepherd,
In favor.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
In favor.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is B. Sure.
Yeah, I got them all. I know, I got them. For what? Oh, they got them. They got them up there.
Right here?
All right, let's bring the other team in.
What's the name today?
26.
I knew you would know. Mr. Warren.
Yes.
Resident. Ms. Paul. Come here for a minute.
Okay, we'll ask Mr. Sermons to,
A resident gave me that. A resident gave me that. Oh, we're in our neighborhood. Thank you for coming. Okay, darling, see you at the meeting.
Ms. Savage, just let me know when the next group is all settled, and we'll go on from there. Sure. Okay, well, sure, we can read those into record.
Madam Chair, the applicant has stated that they're ready.
Okay, all right. Let us go ahead and proceed, and I'll say welcome to the Berkeley Landing representatives. Ms. Savage, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the next suite of applications have three parts. We have a resolution, we have an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida. We have an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving the application ZA 2102 from Berkeley Landing LTD, requesting a zoning map amendment from a DR Downtown Residential District designation to a DG Downtown General District designation for approximately 2.23 acres, 97,740 square feet of the property known as 3100 Broadway, identified by parcel control number 564342280000200020, providing for an effective date. The second portion is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving plat application PA 2101 from Berkeley Landing LTD to combine two contiguous lots of record into one lot totaling approximately 4.01 acres in land area for the real properties located at 3100 and 3124 Broadway Avenue, identified by parcel control numbers 5643422842000010 and 564342280000200020. And a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving site plan application SP 2104 from Berkeley Landing LTD to construct two 3-story residential affordable housing apartment buildings, including live-work units with associated parking, landscaping, and amenities on approximately 4.01 acres of land located at 3100 and 3124 Broadway Avenue, identified by parcel control numbers 564342284200000010 and 5643422800000020, having a downtown mixed-use future land use designation and downtown general and downtown residential zoning designations, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. So as discussed, the applicant is requesting approval of 3 items associated with this project in order to construct 2 3-story residential affordable housing apartment buildings, including live-work units with associated parking, landscaping, and amenities on approximately 4 acres of land located at 3100 and 3124 Broadway Avenue. You have a plat, you have a zoning map amendment, and a site plan approval. So the project location is right here. So it's north of West Blue Heron, and this is Broadway, and over here is Lakeshore Drive, and this is the project location. And a little close-up for you, again, this is the project location. Here's Lakeshore Drive and Broadway. So the legal description I won't read to you, but it was in your packet. So this application set includes a rezoning of a portion of the properties to have one zoning designation of downtown general for the entire property. Currently, there's 2 parcels, and there's a split zoning designation of downtown residential and downtown general. Also, because there's 2 parcels, a plat application has been advanced to combine the 2 properties into one property and clearly identify the civic open spaces, as well as the site plan application, which has the granular details that allow for the construction of the 2 3-story buildings for affordable housing and live-work units with the associated landscaping, parking, and site amenities. So the adjacent property descriptions and uses North of this site was a prior AT&T site. It was recently sold for redevelopment. To the south is Ocean Tide MHP. To the east is the Lake Harbor and Wilshire North condominium. And to the west is Ocean Tide again. So, repeating myself, these applications were all submitted together to facilitate the proposed development at this location. Per the applicant's submittal, the subject property is located within the city's downtown area and has previously been the site for a mobile home park. Based on mapping imagery, the most northerly of the two subject properties appears to have been a residential apartment complex community that was demolished between 2009 and 2010, leaving the site sitting vacant to date. The most southerly of the two subject properties was previously utilized as a mobile home park, vacated between 2014 and 2015 when the current owner took possession of the land. But since that time, neither of these projects have been redeveloped. The proposed redevelopment is a multifamily residential development. It's going to bring 2 live-work units and 110 rental-based units. The project will provide civic open space on both the Broadway frontage and the Lakeshore Drive frontage. The project will provide on-site amenities for the residents, an easement to Palm Tran for a bus shelter, as well as providing the bus shelter structure itself. The site design also looks forward and anticipates development on the north and makes a provision for future changes to the site access to Broadway in order to ensure safe access and egress for the immediate future residents as well as the long-term future residents to the north. So again, this is just a picture of our zoning map, and the 2 parcels of the project are in this teal blue, and I just wanted to illustrate to you that this brownish color is the downtown residential area, and then this is the downtown general. And again, here's another picture of the 2 subject properties, and the intent is to replat them to have one contiguous parcel to support the one project that is being proposed. I know the board has this site plan and you've reviewed it, but for the audience, I would like to point out there's going to be 2 buildings on the site. To orient you, this is Broadway on this side, and over here is Lakeshore Drive. It's proposed to have an entrance to the site here at the northerly boundary of the property off of Broadway. This is civic open space immediately adjacent to one of the 2 buildings. So this building is kind of shaped like a backwards L. And then there's a break in the building facades. This is a pool area. And then this is the next building here. The property does slope down, and that's part of the reason why the buildings are stepped, so to speak. Here is another amenity area for the residents. This is a dog walking area, and then this is a tot lot. You have your parking provided throughout the site, and there's another access over here, as well as civic open space along this boundary. Now, this is a close-up of the entrance off of Broadway. This is Broadway. And as I mentioned, this parcel immediately to the north has been purchased, and we anticipate redevelopment, perhaps with high-density multifamily. So in anticipation of the redevelopment of this parcel to the north, staff worked with the applicant to prepare a future design for a shared access and egress to Broadway in order to ensure optimal safety for both present and future conditions, and in the event the signal is required at that location. And part of the reason is that there are medians out here, as I'm sure the board is aware, and we spent an inordinate amount of time at the staff level talking about how travelers would be able to get into the site and get out of the site and be able to turn. And we also discussed safety of drivers coming south that may want to turn into the site. It's a very tricky location, especially with all of the development going on. Mr. Bailey, our engineer, was very involved, as was Palm Beach County. The applicant, I'm sure, can elaborate more on the technical details of the discussion with the county. But ultimately, we felt that this would be a good future design of the roadway where people could come and enter the site here. And if you can picture, over here, there'll be another development, and the traffic on this side is going to be going out a driveway here, and it quite possibly will have a traffic signal. And we wanted to make sure that the residents of the Berkeley Landing project would be able to access the safe egress and ingress that that traffic signal would provide. And so traffic could still enter the site here, but if you want to leave on Broadway, you would then come out and enter the next property and then go out a future exit there. Now, if I go back to the site plan, it's kind of cropped here. What we did is we talked with the applicant and we said, okay, we don't know when that property to the north is going to be developed. It could be in 5 years, it could be in 10 years. We just know that when it does come in, it's our responsibility to make sure that the people coming in and out are safe and that it works for both projects. So because we didn't know when it would happen, we asked the applicant to provide their configuration for now. This is how it's going to look now. But we also asked them to provide a future design that was reviewed by staff and by our engineers, so that in the future, if this shared access comes to fruition, there's already an engineered design. We won't have to try to figure it out at that time. We've already kind of looked ahead and said, this is what would work for this project without compromising the integrity of it. So we were very pleased that the applicant collaborated with us, and we feel that that's a very proactive stance to take. So this project is required to provide civic open space. There's 2 pieces of civic open space, one on each of the frontages. And this is a rendering of what it would be. Here's your sidewalk. There would be public art, a sculpture, and then a nice landscaped area over here. And this is the tip of that building that's like shaped like an L. And this is a civic open space on Lakeshore Drive. And it's immediately adjacent to a dry retention area that's going to be afforded a number of deciduous and palm trees. So it should have a nice feeling. There should be some shade for the public there. And again, there's going to be some more public art. A very inviting location. No matter which roadway you're walking down, there'll be an opportunity to stop and rest. These are the views of the building from Broadway. So here you're facing, you're on Broadway, you're looking at the building, and this is what the building is proposed to look like. This again is that L piece of the building. And the entrance, the civic open space is here, and the driveway to the site would be here. This rendering here anticipates when you're standing in the parking lot looking at the interior of the building. This is the tot lot and dog walk area in the center of the parking lot. And here again is that building that's shaped like an L for perspective. These are the north and south elevations of Building 1, and you'll notice that it's not a uniform color. The building does have some relief there. Here's your east and west elevations of Building 1. And then moving on to Building 2. Building 2 is the building that's closest to Lakeshore Drive. And these are your north and south elevations. And these are your end elevations of the building. This is a rendering of the proposed bus shelter, and it's intended to correspond with the architectural design. And then this is a rendering of the proposed amenity, the pool area for the residents. So, staff analysis, we did look at this. The proposed use is a permitted use per section 31-536B Downtown General 2A1. The zoning regulations state the purpose and intent of the downtown districts is to guide the redevelopment of the CRA of Riviera Beach and the surrounding properties into a vibrant downtown that provides a variety of housing types to accommodate a diverse population, establishes a park once environment by providing a mix of uses within a pedestrian-friendly environment, maintains and enhances a continuous interconnected network of pedestrian and bicycle-friendly streets that effectively links transit stations, bike paths, sidewalks, buildings, open spaces, and the waterfront, provides public open space in the form of civic parks, plazas, and greens, maintains and enhances public access to the waterfront, encourages investment by accommodating new development at a range of scales, including individual infill buildings and large redevelopment projects, and maintains and improves real and perceived safety as a key component of walkability and sustainability. This project meets the purpose and intent of the downtown districts. The applicant is providing for a total of 8,603 square feet of civic open space in total, meeting the required 5% based on 172,035 total square feet of site area. The proposed project is consistent with our comprehensive plan future land use designation of downtown mixed use. This project provides affordable housing and live-work units, as well as civic open space areas. Customer services such as water, sewer, roads, and garbage collection are available to the site. The school concurrency materials and final determination are attached within the packet. The applicant has proposed extensive landscaping. There are several three-bedroom units, and in order to accommodate the three-bedroom units, the landscape beds between the foundation and the parking lot immediately adjacent to only the three-bedroom units are slightly narrower, but staff felt it was a de minimis reduction, and the benefit of having three-bedroom units in the project merited that reduction. The lighting proposed is as required for the operations of the facility. Site access, as discussed, is proposed via Lakeshore Drive and Broadway Avenue. Palm Beach County issued the TPS approval letter for the project. This project provided 1 parking space per unit and has 46 additional parking spaces for visitors, as well as 2 spaces for the management office and 8 handicap spaces. So it is our opinion that the parking provided will be sufficient to meet the needs of the development. The CRA previously endorsed this project, and correspondence from Mr. Scott Evans is in your backup material. In addition, the CRA considered this exact project design earlier this evening, and I believe Mr. Evans or the applicant team will be able to provide an update to the planning board after my presentation and prior to the applicant's presentation. So, staff's recommendations. We recommend that the Planning and Zoning Board recommend approval of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving the application ZA 2102 from Berkeley Landing LTD, requesting a zoning map amendment from a DR Downtown Residential District designation to a DG Downtown General District designation for approximately 2.23 acres or 97,740 square feet of the property known as 3100 Broadway, identified by PCN number 564342280000200020, and providing for an effective date. City staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Board recommend approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving plat application PA 2101 from Berkeley Landing LTD to combine 2 contiguous lots of record into 1 lot totaling approximately 4.01 acres in land area for the real properties located at 3100 and 3124 Broadway Avenue, identified by PCN numbers 564342284200000010 and 564342280000200020, and providing for an effective date. And finally, for SP 2104, city staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Board recommend approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving the site plan application SP 2104 from Berkeley Landing LTD to construct 2 3-story residential affordable housing apartment buildings, including live-work units with associated parking, landscaping, and amenities on approximately 4 acres of land located at 3100 and 3124 Broadway Avenue, identified by PCN numbers 564342284200000010 and 5643422800000020, having a downtown mixed-use future land use designation and downtown general zoning and downtown general and downtown residential zoning designations, providing for an effective date subject to the following conditions. 1, construction must be initiated within 18 months of the effective date of this resolution in accordance with Section 3160B of the City Code of Ordinances. Demolition, site preparation, and/or land clearing shall not be considered construction. Building permit application and associated plans and documents shall be submitted in its entirety and shall not be accepted by city staff in a partial or incomplete manner. 2, a 2-year landscaping performance bond for 110% of the value of landscaping and irrigation shall be required before a certificate of occupancy is issued for this site. 3, the City Council authorized city staff to approve future amendments to the site plan administratively, so long as the site plan does not deviate greater than 5% from the originally approved site plan. 4, this development must receive final certificate of occupancy from the city for all buildings and/or units approved within 5 years of the approval of the adopting resolution, or the adopting resolution shall be considered null and void, requiring the applicant to resubmit application for site plan approval and reinitiate the site plan approval process. 5, all future advertising must state that the development is located in the city of Riviera Beach. Fees and penalties in accordance with City Code Section 31-554 will be levied against the property owner and/or business for violation of this condition. 6, once approved, this resolution shall supersede any previous site plan approval resolutions associated with this property, causing previous site plan approval resolutions to be null and void. 7, the concurrently processed ordinance ZA 2102 and resolution PA 2101 must be adopted, approved, and become effective prior to the site plan approval becoming effective. 8, the property owner is responsible for the overall maintenance of the civic open space, as shown on the plat PA 2101 for Berkeley Landing, and the civic open space shall be maintained in perpetuity for the use and benefit of the public. 9, within 6 months after the approval of the resolution or prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, whichever is later, the property owner or designee must provide and record a palm tree and bus shelter easement, no less than 10 by 30 feet in area, subject to the approval of the City of Riviera Beach. The location sketch, legal description, and dedication documents of this easement, as well as the final design of the bus shelter, shall be approved by the City Public Works Director and Director of Development Services prior to the recordation of the documents. 10, within 6 months after the approval of the resolution or prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, whichever is later, the petitioner shall construct a Palm Tran approved mass transit shelter with appropriate access, lighting, and 2 trash receptacles. The location of the shelter shall be within an approved bus stop, boarding, and a lighting area easement. Any and all costs associated with the construction and perpetual maintenance shall be funded by the petitioner and/or future property owner. And Madam Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Let's have the applicant come forward, introduce yourselves and your part or role in the Berkeley Landing. Oh, okay.
Chair.
Mr. Evans, you're coming forward first, or? Oh, okay.
Chair Harris-Clark. Hi, Assistant
sure.
City Attorney. Just before the applicant presents, if I could just address one matter that was just brought to me, and that's that Board Member Gallen identifies a conflict that he has pertaining to this particular project. As part of his identification of the conflict, he has not advised me, but I believe he is going to abstain from voting. Is that correct?
Yes, I know one of the members that's on this team.
Okay. And can you identify, besides knowing the member, do you have an additional conflict? Had you worked together that has created the conflict?
We work for the same organization, the school district.
Okay. Do you intend to abstain from voting, but also abstain from discussion, or do you intend to influence the discussion on this matter or the voting on this matter?
I feel I should still be able to be in the discussion, but I won't vote.
Okay, so you're abstaining from voting, but you intend to participate in the matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that make us not have a quorum? If we lose Mr. Gatlin in terms of voting, do we still have a quorum?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
So you have completed the Form 8B?
Yes.
And you will provide it to, we will make copies and provide it to the other members of the board, and we also are going to incorporate it into the minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, may I ask the lawyer one question? HTG helped build out Heron Estates, Ivy Green, and I kind of like been in contact with their meetings, not really being a part of the Housing Authority, but I do know a couple of members there, just being in the meetings. Now, will that influence me, just sitting there listening to their presentation?
If you don't think that it's a conflict, if it does not inure to your benefit, then, to your pecuniary benefit, then no, Board Member
Okay,
Shepherd.
okay, thank you.
But of course, that is something that you would have to determine on your own. But it's my advice that it's not a conflict, just to participate in the meetings.
I don't see him here, Brian Finney. Is that a part of their? No, we're a different organization. Okay, thank you, okay.
Even better.
Okay, yes, thank you, sir. We're good friends.
Thank you,
All
Chair.
right, Mr. Evans, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while since I spoke to this board. Scott Evans, Planning and Development Director for the CRA. Thank you for having me tonight. And we're very excited. I just wanted to provide the Planning and Zoning Board an update from the CRA on this particular project. The CRA board reviewed it in October of last year, and they voted to recommend approval of the project. And at the same time, they also approved matching funds, which allowed this team to go forward in the amount of $640,000 and apply for the tax credits. And we're very excited that they've been successful in that endeavor, and they're now here before you tonight asking for your comments prior to going to the City Council. The project, we feel, is a significant step forward in what we're trying to do in the Broadway corridor. We want to create a pedestrian-friendly environment. We want to attract mixed-use developments that are urban designed, so that instead of having a parking lot adjacent to the sidewalk, you have buildings. We're also trying to attract more residents to the Broadway corridor. This is important. A lot of the commercial and retail spaces that we have in the corridor have struggled, and we know that we need to bring more residents to live in the area who can then patronize the local commercial that we're trying to attract also. So this project's a really key step in the transformation of Broadway that we're trying to achieve, and I hope that you receive it favorably. The CRA board received an update tonight on the project, and they were also very supportive of the project, and I think that I won't go into it. I'm sure that they have a detailed presentation for you, but the board did comment that they're very pleased with a lot of the various efforts that this particular project's making to try and employ local contractors and make this project a real contribution to the community.
Thank you. Okay, let's have our applicants welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Tim Wheat, and I represent Pinnacle Communities, one of two partners in Berkeley Landing, along with Kevin Kroll with Wendover Housing Partners. This is the merging of two best-in-class affordable housing development companies in Florida, Wendover based in Central Florida, Pinnacle based in Miami. And we've come together to do what I think is really one of the most exciting developments I've had in my 35-year career in affordable and workforce housing by doing Berkeley Landing. I'm going to turn over the dais to Colleen Walter with Urban Design Studios, who's going to take you through what we're proposing to do in terms of the nuts and bolts and supplement Mary's presentation. But just to tell you a little bit about us, at Pinnacle, we've developed nearly 10,000 units in Florida, Mississippi, and Texas, and we work with all kinds of organizations, including public housing authorities, on redevelopment efforts in urban infill housing. We're noted for our quality design and also for our emphasis on art in public places, and might have a little chance at the end to tell you a little bit about that, because as Mary pointed out in her presentation, we have an opportunity to locate two pieces of sculpture art in both community plazas. So this is just a very brief example of our work, ranging from affordable and workforce housing and actually market rate housing altogether on Brickell, and senior housing in Hollywood, very similar in scale to what we're proposing here, and did that in a public-private partnership with the city of Hollywood. And Wendover Housing Partner, we've known them for 25 years, and they have been trend-setting in Central Florida, and have expanded throughout the southeastern United States, and their DNA is very similar to ours in that affordable and workforce housing should be indistinguishable from market rate and luxury housing. It's the financing that we bring to the table, and that is the only real distinction in the fact that we would make rents more affordable to people at working incomes. So Wendover shares our philosophy, and here's a couple of their developments. Really exciting transit-oriented development called Weston Park they did in Seminole County, and also Wellington Park and Apopka, among many of their developments. We have a best-in-class team for the Berkeley Landing effort, including Wendover and Pinnacle. We've created at Pinnacle a joint venture with D. Stevenson Construction, who was involved in building this building we're in now, and many other developments or construction activities throughout South Florida. And we're working with them to begin the minority and local business recruitment process, which actually will start across the hallway on October 5th, where we're going to host our initial pre-qualifying event. And Joe Sanchez is here. If you have any questions for him, he'd be glad to answer them. Brown and Phillips is our surveying team. Colleen here with Urban Design Studios. Jamie Crowley with the Gunster Law Firm has represented us on our land use and zoning matters. RLC Architects, Lucille Hinners is here if you have a question about the architectural design. Chris Rogers with the Keith team is providing us civil and traffic engineering. Chris is present with us tonight. And Kevin Kroll, again, my partner with Wendover Housing Partners. Wendover is also the management company and will be very hands-on in terms of both the leasing and operation, but also we do an array of resident-based services that we'll touch on at the end of our presentation. So I'm going to step aside. I'm just going to say two things. One is that this was a journey, as Scott pointed out, that started in October of last year, where we solicited the city and the CRA board and the city council's support to get the tax credits from Florida Housing. Thank goodness we were successful. We've brought a development forward that is fundamentally unchanged from that original conception, but thanks to the hard work of your staff, who's been wonderful to work with, you have three big wins here other than the needed affordable housing. As Mary pointed out, the two Civic open spaces, these gorgeous plazas that are going to really activate the corridors. And Mary and staff were very particular about not just wanting to activate Broadway, but also Lakeshore Drive, and that triangle is a staff suggestion. The shared access, another staff suggestion, has made our development better. And then the dedication of 10 feet of sidewalk along Broadway. So we've provided a sidewalk and freed up space for future possible parallel parking once FDOT and the city can come together on a long-range plan for Broadway. FDOT apparently changes their mind quite a bit, but what they want to do on the corridor, but hopefully in the future, we can even be your partner in activating the corridor a little bit more. So, and there will be gorgeous street trees all along that the Broadway Avenue corridor. So, without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Colleen, who will walk you through the nuts and bolts, and the rest of the team is here to answer any questions you might have. And I know the hour is late, and we appreciate you indulging us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. I'm Colleen Walter with Urban Design Studio. We are the land planner working with your city staff and the applicant and their team in running the various applications through the city's review processes. Ms. Savage-Dunham did an excellent overview of the 3 requests that we have before you this evening. And again, as Tim indicated, because the night is late, I'm going to flip through several of our slides that are duplicative of what you saw from Ms. Savage-Dunham. So the site is located just north of Blue Heron between US 1 and Lake Shore. Ms. Dunham covered the surrounding uses, including the site to the north, the prior AT&T location that everyone is hopeful will redevelop and has been considered as part of the development of this project. Portion of the site, the request is to rezone it. That is the area in yellow, and the entire site would then be zoned downtown general, which will allow for a unified plan of development. The proposed plat will tie the 2 parcels together. It will dedicate the civic parcels, and it will also dedicate the 10 feet to FDOT along Broadway that Tim mentioned. And this will become a wide sidewalk with street trees, allowing for future improvements within Broadway to occur. The master site plan request is for the project, including the 2 buildings. The architecture is tropical modern and has a very nice facade combination of colors, the bright white, the muted gray, the yellow highlights really give the building facade a lot of life and activity. And especially where it's going to be fronting Broadway, it will bring that to the street. There are the 2 minor deviations that Ms. Savage-Dunham referenced for the foundation plantings, as well as for the configurations of the civic and public open spaces that I'll talk to in a little bit. There are 110 affordable rental units and 2 live-work units. Those live-work units will front Broadway. And let me see if I can get a mouse. Nope. Right. They will front Broadway in this location. They will have ground floor commercial space, could be retail, could be commercial or office, and then we'll have living area above it on a 2nd floor. The amenities within the main building, the fitness center, the lounge, also will front Broadway. So this area here will all be essentially activated. It will be eyes on the street. You'll have the 2 entrances into the live-work lofts. You'll have the improvements within the right-of-way along Broadway, including the wide sidewalk and the street trees, and that will enhance this public realm here all along the street frontage. This is a exhibit showing that 10-foot dedication to DOT and its utilization as a sidewalk with the street trees. As Ms. Savage Dunham indicated, a lot of effort was put into the design for a future connection if the property to the north develops. The project engineer, working with city staff, Palm Beach County, DOT, making sure that all of the access movements, both in the current proposed configuration and in the future configuration, will provide for safe and adequate circulation, not only for residents within both of the communities, but also anyone traveling along Broadway and the streets that are on the west side of Broadway. The landscape program proposed is lush and tropical, and it includes a lot of native and drought-tolerant plants. There are landscape buffers provided along the south side, adjacent to the residential on the south. We talked a lot about the Broadway buffer, and then landscape buffers along the north and along Lakeshore Drive. There are shade trees that are proposed within the parking area, and there are foundation plantings along all of the facades of the building. As Ms. Savage Dunham indicated, there are a couple of areas where the foundation plantings get narrow to accommodate the 3-bedroom units. However, when you look at an average of the foundation planting across the entire facade of the building, the code minimum is 10 feet, and this project achieves a 12-foot average. The public open spaces will have trees and palms within them, benches for some shaded seating areas. The bus shelter is incorporated as part of the plaza, and again, the architecture will be compatible with that of the building. Similar approach taken for the public plaza down on Lakeshore Drive, where it too will have benches, shaded seating, and the opportunity for public art to be incorporated. The 2 civic spaces are not located at 2 streets because the site is not at an intersection. So there is no way that that provision can be complied with. And due to the narrowness of the site, both of the public civic spaces are located, in this case, adjacent to the building, in this case, adjacent to the roadway, so that they are accessible to the public. And in that instance, they do not have buildings or streets on all 4 sides. But that is the desire, is to actually have them be adjacent to the public realm and the public streets. There are a lot of amenities that are incorporated within the project that are exterior, as well as the amenities that are incorporated within the building. And they include the tot lot, a pavilion with barbecue, the dog walk area, the pool area and cabana that were previously shown in pictures. Interior to the buildings, there are community meeting rooms, and a library and a lounge. The pool area is located between the 2 buildings. There will be indoor bicycle storage area, a fully equipped fitness center, and there will be security on site. The apartments themselves will be well appointed, and again, a mix of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units. Berkeley Landing is a mixed income, mixed use project, and it will offer a wide variety of rental rates. And this is some of the information that was just presented to the CRA, which is in keeping with the agreement that the developer has with the CRA for the affordable housing tiers. Berkeley Landings is going to be more than just a place to live. The developers, who also will be the managers of the buildings, do offer opportunities for residents to learn and grow family activities, individual activities, and these are some of the courses and classes that will be offered within the building. This also helps create a sense of community where you have the opportunity to get to know your neighbors, meet other people within the building, and to interact. As Mr. Evans indicated, the CRA did initially support and continues to support this project and has committed $640,000 towards the development of the project. That completes my presentation. As Tim indicated, there are members of the consultant team as well as the two developers that are here this evening. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for your consideration.
Sure, thank you. Let's go directly to public comments.
Madam Chair, I have two public comment cards, and members of the public, these are the only two that we have, and these two members of the public did have to leave, and they asked me if I would read them into the
Sure.
record. The first one is from a Laura Burke, 3040 Lakeshore Drive. She says, I do not wish to speak, but I would like the following comments read into the record. This is low-income housing, which will bring crime to my neighborhood. How are we to handle 200 cars on the road? You are offering a literacy course, which means that they can't read nor have a job. I do not support this item. The second public comment card that I have is from a Patty Rose, 3040 Lakeshore Drive, who wanted to speak but had to leave due to the hour. Her comment is, the traffic on Lakeshore Drive will be out of control. How was this approved without input from local residents? The condo across the street will be adversely affected. The city will lose significant tax revenue when 47 condo owners move out from across the street. How is it that this has been discussed since last October without notifying any current property owners in the area? And that concludes the public comment.
Okay, thank you. Did Mr. Evans leave? Is he got here?
I believe Mr. Evans left. I'll check if he's in the hallway.
Yeah, I just want to at least address those comments. Okay. Yeah, I wish we would
Was it a
be able to.
CRA question?
Yeah, I think it's more of a CRA question
City
specifically.
Manager Evans is across the hallway.
Is he familiar with this Berkeley Landing and can defer to some of these questions, just to have it on the record?
Perhaps you could field the questions.
I'm happy to take the questions if you would like me to.
Yes, but it's more of a city question because it's a resident and you're the applicant, so it's more directed towards a city representative.
Understood. Just the notice issue is a legal issue, so I'm sure your attorneys can handle that as well.
Sure. Welcome, Mr. City Manager Evans. I don't want to put you on the spot, but my question is, are you familiar with the Berkeley Landing project in a sense that Mr. Evans is not here? We had public comments, and I would like for those concerns to at least be addressed, because if Mr. Scott Evans was here, they would be directed to him. Would you take his place?
Absolutely.
Sure. Would you
One
like to
Evans
read-
always fills in for another one.
Sure. Would you like to read the cards just to get familiar? And at least if the applicant, not applicant, if the resident is looking at this session, they can at least feel that their concerns were addressed.
With regards to Ms. Patty Rose put in a card about the traffic on Lake Shore and how will the traffic not cause for issue or congestion as it relates to the development. I know that the folks in Berkeley Landing have been very intentional as it relates to their site plan and how they've contained the parking in the interior of the property, and that they would conceivably, be able to exit out on Broadway or Lakeshore. So they do have the option. So persons conceivably are going to go the path of least resistance. If their units are in the front building, most likely they'll enter into the property from Broadway. The other side, they'll come from Lake. So there is a, analysis that is done with regards to what the impacts would be. And so Berkeley Landing has already associated what the traffic and the patterns and be able to accommodate those things. So we know that anything that you put on that site is actually going to generate trips. That's a given. The value that we see in this is one of the challenges that we have in our community is not having enough units to be able to accommodate persons living in our community. And so when we did have the discussion, and we are, for all intent and purpose, a partner with the group, because as part of their development process, they did go and ask for the city of Riviera Beach to be a participant in the actual overall development. So we are actually contributing finances to the tune of about $640,000 to the development to help facilitate it coming to the community. So we know that traffic is going to be different because the site is currently not occupied. But the way the development is, we don't have a concern that there's going to be bottlenecking or situation where traffic is going to be queuing up, because in order for them to get the curb cuts from FDOT, they have to go through a process and demonstrate that their development is not going to adversely impact the surrounding properties and create traffic and congestion and back it up on their roadway and cause for a public safety concern. So there's some intentionality and there's some analysis that they've had to do to be able to get this far in the process.
Sure, that's fine. We're just addressing the comments from the public who had to leave because of an earlier meeting.
With respect to the development and workforce housing, I guess this particular card speaks to the workforce housing. I think it's important to know that a component of it does address some low income, but a large component associated with this particular product goes towards more so your workforce and your working population. So there is a big chunk of the units that are available are going to be for your working class residents that are probably on the cusp of that livable wage, making over that $15 an hour. And what we've seen is the challenge with respect to persons getting into a quality product that's built in the 21st century. A lot of our housing stock and a lot of availability we have in our community is not up to standard. And that's why we hear a lot of times on the city side that persons complain about their electric or their water bills because the appliances and the things that are in the homes that they're renting are built in the 1970s, 80s, and so they don't have some of the modern appliances and modern features and energy saving components. So one of the things that this project will actually be able to do is it will allow for the opportunity for persons, if they are a tenant, they're one, to put monies aside for the purposes of going into a unit that they can purchase eventually in our community. But the other side of it is they're not seeing most of their disposable income go into those costs like water, electric, trash, all those other things that would be the responsibility of the tenant if they were to rent across the street. And so we believe that this product, being that it is modern, it is new, it has some of those amenities, the quality of life and actually the money, the output that the resident would have to do would be far less than something that was built in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. And that's the challenge that we have with a lot of the housing stock in our community and countywide. There is a deficiency as it relates to new units. So having a product that comes online that's built in the 21st century and has some of those modern amenities certainly is going to provide for persons to be able to save, and ultimately we want to see them live here for a little bit and then buy a home in our community. And Berkeley Landing, actually, they can speak to their program that they have that actually sets aside a portion of the monies that they collect for rent for the purposes of down payment assistance. And one of the things we were talking about on the CRA side is we can possibly look to come up with subsequent cash on the CRA side so we can mirror that money up together and then get people into units where they are now building that generational wealth and investing in the community versus a situation whereby they're just renters. We want to move them into more so being homeowners, property owners in our community.
Sure. For that latter card there, I think if I heard the comment from the resident, is the connotation that when you say affordable housing and the associated support mechanisms that will be associated with this project, that the residents who live in the condos, I don't want to say they assume, but they are inferring that affordable housing, additional support systems, automatically is going to bring their property value down across the street, and they are going to flight our city because of the connotation of affordable housing. So just for the record here with our viewing audience, if there's any clarification or assurance of really what this project means.
Right, so as it relates to workforce housing, and when I was in Sarasota County, we actually called it attainable housing because persons had a negative connotation and a stigma based on housing that was developed back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s that had that negative connotation. These properties now are required to have some of the most modern amenities, and that you should not be able to differentiate the quality product from a for-market apartment complex that would come into the community. The investment as it relates to the property is well over $31 million. You can't make that sizable investment and expect for your property values to go down. And actually, your property values are going to go up because it's a vacant piece of land that is worth, based on the property appraisers, $975,000. If you put $31 million into that campus, and then you've added some of those amenities that gives you frontage on Broadway, that gives you art, that has green space, that has some of those pool amenities. And I would venture to say that the development group, they've done this before in other communities. So they're going to make sure that the quality of tenants and the expectation between the tenant and the property owner is one that it's a good reflection, because we're, at the end of the day, the taxpayers of Riviera Beach are investors in this. And so we have a vested interest in making sure that it doesn't become a situation where people are second guessing the decision. But we have to, as a community, we have to provide housing for our working class residents. And we want to make sure that this is a community where you can age in place, that you can start off with maybe a starter home in our community, maybe an apartment, go to a single family home, and then when you're ready to retire, you can get one of those condos that are on the island or on the intercoastal. So I know that there's negative connotations based on people's past experience or perceptions, but knowing the group and knowing their product and what they've developed in other communities, this is going to be a product and a development that people are actually going to come to see, hey, if you're going to do affordable housing, this is where you need to go, and this is what the expectation is for workforce and affordable housing here in Riviera Beach and countywide. We wanted this project to be the benchmark, the staple, and that's why this project has been as successful as it has throughout the process. And so we hope that this is a lightning rod for redevelopment through the Broadway corridor, and that we can see market rate developments, because you can't, as it relates to housing, you can't say that it's just only going to be affordable housing. You have to have a mix. It's required by law. So you're going to have people that are going to be paying close to a market rate. You're going to have people that are going to be paying substantially less, but they're not going to know the difference, and they're not going to see the difference in the amenities or the service and the quality. And that's what this project, we believe, brings, is the quality that will stand the test of time. And we know that any change, some folks adapt to it, but we believe that this development is a good development with a good developer that's done this in other communities and has seen major dividends pay off for the developer as well as the city and the partners that they have in the relationship.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure that their concerns were addressed by at least a staff person from Riviera Beach. Thank you, City Manager. Yes.
And Madam Chair, for the record, for the question about the notice, I do want the board to know that signs were posted on the property. Notices were mailed to all property owners within 300 feet, and legal ads were posted in the newspaper. So we did our usual advertising for this project as we do with all projects.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Savage. Okay, since that's the end of public comments, let's go ahead and open it up to our board discussion. And I'd like to start off with the applicant to talk about the security system cameras. Was there a gate? I don't think I saw a gate, and I don't know if we can put a rendition of the property up so we can have a visual. That would be fine. That's fine.
Thank you for the question. I could go on and on about the question Mr. Evans answered, but he answered it perfectly. Let me just say one thing that, if you don't mind if I digress, there's a literally study after study. I think the Florida Housing Coalition has curated over 40 studies where the nexus between affordable housing development and property values is proven that actually affordable housing tends to be catalytic in other areas and increases property values at least at the same rate as normal development does. And our company started its first big development in the late 1990s in a community in Miami that suffered from massive disinvestment, and we built our first development there, and that neighborhood now is Wynwood, and we started a series of investment that's gone on, and Wendover's had the same experience in communities. I did a development in the Frenchtown community in Tallahassee and finished it 3 years ago. Now, all new apartments and new homes being built all around. The idea is to make affordable and workforce housing an investment that creates catalytic activity and provides quality housing. To answer your question now, these are 3-story walk-up apartments, but they have a center corridor, so through the heart of the building. So we have 2 entrances at each building location, here and then down here. So the entry will be, you'll need a fob to get into the building. So residents will have a fob, the door unlocks, and there'll be one guest entry where you have a call box to get into the building. So in addition to that, we will have electronic surveillance all throughout the property. At varying points, we'll have a series of cameras. I can't estimate the exact amount. It'll probably be about 48. That'll look at the entry, all of the common elements, interior and exterior, and obviously these lobbies, the corridors, and the public plazas. So, and the systems that we get now are web-enabled, so in the event of an emergency, Riviera Beach Police Department should be able to access them, to download images, to assist with any kind of investigation. We do not intend to gate the community. We're sort of in a downtown area, and we just feel that a gated community doesn't really work, and we have enough traffic calming potential to discourage potential cut-throughs. So our focus is on using electronics and technology, and also we'll have a courtesy officer at the development during the lease up and beyond at varying times where we feel it's most necessary to provide a physical security presence as well. So those are our strategies with regard to security.
So there isn't a perimeter fencing?
Oh,
gate?
yeah, there is perimeter fencing along,
Oh, okay.
along here and here, but obviously not on Broadway or Lakeshore, because the idea is to give it a downtown feel, not to wall us off from the downtown core.
Right, I'm okay with the perimeter fencing. My concern was up until we as a city build Broadway up with the great restaurants and other types of housing, it's kind of exposed. And it could be a temporary gate until we as a community develop, that parcel is developed over there. And then you've got the mobile home area over there. It's kind of savory over there. So my concern is just putting maybe a temporary fixture of a gate there until the surrounding areas have now been redeveloped and they are now safe and everything looks great. It's
Well,
just that you're going to be a lone, great piece of property for a while.
Understood, but I want to point out to you that we are fencing along our northern and southern borders.
Right, but I'm speaking of Broadway.
Yeah, I don't.
Isn't there
Yeah.
entrance? Are people right over here in the top corner?
You mean up here?
Yes, those are cars coming in and out, right?
Mhm, correct.
People can come in and out because that quadrant is open.
Yes.
That's what my concern is, that
Well,
area.
but
right
remember, we can't restrict access to the civic open space, which we're also dedicated to the city. We're dedicating per our plat for civic open space. So, fencing, and then we also have two commercial, or those live-work bays. So these are commercial entries here.
So the top area, that's dedicated to the city? That's not part of this property in terms of ownership? You said dedicated.
Right.
What do you
The
mean
plat
specifically by that?
dedicates this as civic open space to the city, and we are responsible, as Mary read to you in the conditions of approval, for maintaining it. I'll let Mary address it probably a little bit better than I am.
Yes, Madam Chair. So it is civic open space, and the applicant or the property owner is required to maintain that civic open space for the public benefit in perpetuity. So they'll have to manage the landscaping, pick up the garbage, but it is civic open space. So if you were walking up Broadway or Lakeshore, for that matter, you'll now have shady places to sit down and catch your breath, look at the art. So fencing them off from the public, we actually wouldn't support a fence blocking public access from the public ways into the civic open space, because that would defeat the purpose.
Okay, I understand now. I wasn't clear on that. So since it's a public access, that quadrant and the lower quadrant, what would prohibit someone from going there and just staying there 6 to 10 hours a day? Because they don't have any place else to go.
You're talking about in the civic open
Yes.
space? Well, yeah, we're going to have to do a very good job of coordinating with the city and its assets to make sure that we don't have lengthy loitering like you would in any other public area. So the solution to that, I think, is probably effective coordination with the city and its varying agencies, and even the police department when we think it's necessary, and we don't really want to do that except as a last resort. But I think we'll also have to post some no trespassing signs there.
Right. I mean, that's our reality.
No,
Yes.
I follow you, and I
Yes.
completely
Okay.
understand.
All right.
I do think, see, the goal here, there's no access into the buildings physically except to these two commercial spaces along here. There's probably a way to tie, and we could try to work with staff to maybe tie the southern fence into the corner of this building, so that way no one can get behind the building because to go to your point, you're saying that, in the future when everything develops to the north and south, you won't be an island anymore, but you're an island right now.
Right.
So perhaps I'm sitting here thinking, and maybe the practical solution is that since we're doing a fence along here, that we simply create an angle and put a fence connecting this building corner to the property, to the fence. That way we don't have unlawful trespassing onto our property and maybe do the same thing down here. And we would agree to make that a condition of
And
approval
I
if
think
you
that
opted to
would-
do so.
Right, and I think that would maybe help alleviate the public comment cards, which is what their concern would be. So I'm going to open the floor up to our board members for questions. I see Mr. Gatlin's hand on his mic, so he must be ready.
Yeah. I have a question about the tenants. How are the tenants, the families are going to be chosen?
That's a open, first come, first served process. They go through an extensive resident screening process. We do credit and prior rental history and criminal background checks, and then we, and Kevin can talk a little bit more about this if you needed to, but they'll go through that resident screening process. They'll put down a small deposit so we can run the background check. Then we verify their income. And then after that, they are approved for residency, if they're approved for residency. And we have a detailed resident selection criteria that we generally follow on all of these type developments where certain past histories would disqualify you. Because this housing is extraordinarily scarce. So we have an obligation to be careful in our resident selection. And that leasing process starts about 60 days prior to the completion of the first building, although we may do some pre-marketing efforts and open up a temporary leasing office somewhere on Broadway in advance of that and start doing some resident intake.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Vice Chair, do you have any questions?
I just, if you could kind of explain the developer, because I'm looking through the packet and it's very complete. You guys have provided a lot of information. I'm just trying to understand the actual developer. And then I'm also looking at your letter dated October 2nd in reference to the local contractor initiative. So if you can kind of talk about the developer and also this local contractor initiative.
Oh, okay. Well, first with the developer. The developers are two companies. I represent Pinnacle Communities, which is based in Miami, and Kevin Kroll is with Wendover Housing Partners. Wendover and Pinnacle are the 50-50 controlling interest in Berkeley Landing LTD. The entity that now owns the property, we closed on the purchase of the property at the end of June, and will own and operate the development. So both of us have extensive backgrounds in affordable and workforce housing, owners and operators. Both companies are long-term holds. We're not building this development to then go sell it to an insurance company the day it's finished. We're going to be in it, and we're restricted for a period of 50 years to operate it as it's intended, because we obtained housing tax credits from the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, which, as Mr. Evans pointed out, the city was a partner in helping us do that. So as to the second question about the contracting process, I have Joe Sanchez here with D. Stevenson Construction. We have a construction partnership called PCDS Construction, which is our Pinnacle's construction company and D. Stevenson. And Joe can walk you through, actually, if you have the time. We have a series of slides about our local contractor recruitment process. If you would like to see it, if you don't mind the time.
If we could as kind of quick as you can, because the hour is kind of late, but, just so anybody watching, and especially local people who may be interested.
Okay, so I'll leave Joe. Why don't you just do the share slide and the timetable.
Good evening, Joseph Sanchez. I'm President of D. Stevenson Construction.
Welcome.
D. Stevenson is Florida's largest African-American-owned general contractor, and we've been around for 30 years. So we've developed a outreach and investment program called SHARE, and SHARE is an acronym, stands for Seek, Help, Access, Report, and Evaluate. Seek is where we do outreach and do an outreach event. We talked about October 5th is our first outreach event. and we go through different databases and bring firms in. We help them with pre-qualification in the second phase. Making sure they have access to the right people is the next phase, access to the right people, the drawings early on. Then we do reporting. Across the whole, we actually do monthly reporting so we can report on how we're engaging firms and individuals in the project. And then we evaluate that, so we make sure that we're doing what we said we're going to do, and make sure that the contractors, both large and small, are doing what they said they're going to do over the course of the project to make sure everybody's being successful. We also developed this timeline to identify when these different activities take place, starting with the outreach events, the data mining, the pre-qualification process. We have these interactions with trade associations and conferences to make sure that we do outreach to different groups. The certification and pre-qualification. We have technical assistance workshops, so we help them learn how to do pay applications and making sure that they know how to, that we have bonding assistance and all those kind of things so we can help grow their businesses. We want to make sure we grow their capacity. We have one-on-one pre-bid meetings. We have debriefings after they bid so we can tell them how they did, and then we do that feedback and surveys. And then we have these internal and external meetings with our groups and with the CRA to make sure that they're satisfied with the work that we're doing. So we have a very extensive program to make sure we do this. So we have a goal on this project to do at least 25% local small minority business participation. And so that's going to be a combination of direct prime contractors as well as having some of those smaller contractors team up with bigger contractors. So it'll be first tier and second tier combinations of activities to make sure we get those people involved, with those companies as well as workforce involved.
Thank you. I was looking, I did not see that in the packet. No. Can I have a copy of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mary, we'll send that to you in the morning. That was part of our presentation of the CRA tonight. So.
All right, thank you. It's my questions for now, Madam Chair.
All right, let's see, a couple of questions for me. I see that you have the pet lot, and to have pets, and a lot of people could end up having pets, I'm just thinking you may want to reduce the dog walk pet concept and increase the tot lot. That was just my recommendations, because people have all types of dogs, and insurance-wise, certain dogs are not allowed because of high insurance. That was just a recommendation. A question, storage. You have the patios. The design is clean and it's fresh. I'm sure the patio is not that big, or the balcony. Is there storage for the residents who may accommodate that? If you could address that. And I think my last question might be for staff, but it looks like the CRA has covered off job contractors as well as resident employment. So if that's covered off from the CRA standpoint, we don't have to go into that. But the other two observations for our guests.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. The dog walk. That's supposed to be an open dog play area. You know, people love their pets, but we are going to have breed limits and weight limits. And I would expect that other than dangerous breeds, we'll probably in the neighborhood of 25 pounds or less. You know, the dog walk area, we probably, some of that may be green belt, not necessarily fenced in just for the dogs, but it might just be more of a passive area for adults. The playground tot lot will be a nice area. One of the things that we'll do, there's 3 components to every playground that we do at Pinnacle, and I know that Wendover agrees. One is the solar shade above, and the other, then the functional equipment of varying modalities for kids of different ages, and then a synthetic turf surface, which makes the play area super nice. And your question about storage, yes, we have ample storage within the units. We do not allow storage on the balconies. For those units with exterior balconies, we want those to look nice, and we want people to drive by Berkeley Landing and not see people drop towels or put their bikes out there. We restrict what you can have on a balcony in terms of patio furniture or plants, but we don't want them to become storerooms, so we've provided adequate storage. One of the things that we're doing here is because our partners at Wendover and I agree, because you have a code requirement for, I think it's one bike for every 3 residential units. We're doing an interior bike storage. So we'll have like the racks where you can lock your bike up, and that is located, give me 1 second. Again, I know the hour's late, so I'm trying not to take too much time, but that's located here. So there's like an electrical meter room, an entry, and then a bike storage room. So you can walk in and you'll have fob access. You go in, you get your bike, and you go, and then you lock your bike up. It's not sitting out in the elements. And the other thing, speaking of storage, in addition to the mail room here, behind that is a package room. So if Amazon delivers to you or UPS, it's in a safe room. They don't have to go in the building, just like in Class A developments.
Oh, great. Smaller dog area, bigger top.
Okay, we'll look into it.
I agree with her, especially on the Todd area. I think that should be a little bit bigger. And most of the times, I guess, every time I'm going in that area and I'm working in that area, I see people usually walking their dogs down the Lakeshore Drive area and sometimes on the Broadway area or whatever. So, like I said, I think it'd be better to have more space there. I want to go back to the part here where you have the common area, where you have the brown areas on Broadway and on Lakeshore Drive. And just for clarification on that area there, okay, I see where the bus shelter is and that area here where the benches and everything are. And I was a little concerned also, as my colleagues, about the safety in that area and being able to walk through. My whole thing was, what was the specific purpose, especially for the bench area on the Lakeshore Drive area? Because I think that was the concern of the resident in that area, because they don't want people coming and just hanging out in that area. Why was the purpose for that area in the first place for? Because I see that as being a concern, a legitimate concern.
You mean for specifically for Lakeshore Drive?
Yeah, well, for both, but yeah, especially for that area there. What is the necessity for that?
Well, first of all, your code does call for a 5% open space and civic open space dedication requirements. The goal in talking with staff was to try to activate both streets with public, a high quality civic open space.
Got it.
And staff had the idea, which we really liked in one of our meetings with them, was think about this triangle here as you're driving, and you really will catch the eye of passers-by and really provide a very wonderful visual as you're driving down Lakeshore because of the way the property naturally sort of juts out there. So we worked with staff again with the public art, and this is not intended to be, it's not a big enough place to really hang out and sort of and gather in large groups, but the idea is for people who might be, like you mentioned, walking your dog on Lakeshore.
It's a rest stop.
Yeah, and you could stop at a bench and enjoy the nice little piece of art. And we have found in our experiences that when we do stuff like this and elevate the street corridor, people treat it with respect.
Got it.
And and I think that's, well, I'm certain that's what will happen here, but in case there will be, I don't know exactly where we'll fix cameras, but we'll have eyes on there, as will public safety.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Board Member Shepherd?
Yes, just a question. I keep seeing HTG on some of the documents.
They're a fine company, but
They're what now?
They're a fine company, and they do a great job. They did a really
Well,
nice.
I
But
think
that's
your
not
name-
us. They're not affiliated with us in any way.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering.
That's okay.
The question is, how do you come to terms of the rent in these? Is it affordable housing, apartments? What is it? How do you calculate the rent?
I'm going in the wrong direction. I have a whole slide for this. Hold on a second. I'm going to explain when I pull this up. If you bear with me. Okay, here we go. All right, so you'll see my little probably can't see that, but there's everything comes with an asterisk, right? So it says, subject to change based on annual income and rent limits published by Florida Housing Finance Corporation.
Say that again into the mic.
It's subject to change, annual income and rent limits are published to all of us who develop affordable housing using housing tax credits by the State Housing Finance Corporation on an every year basis. Just HTG would follow those same rules at Heron, just like we would follow at Berkeley Landing. So in our particular development, we get a schedule that tells us what the maximum rents we can charge based on the varying income levels. So for example, we have 17 units set aside for people at just at 30% of the area-wide median income, which is based on Palm Beach County's income would be $25,680 for a family of 4. And it's on a sliding scale. So smaller family lower, bigger family a higher income limit. And then the rents we're allowed to charge based on 2021 income and rent limits range from $402 for the 1 bedroom to $538 for the 3 bedroom. Then we come up to most of our units, 74 of them, are at 60% of the area-wide median income, which would be $51,000 for a family of 4. And the rents range from $884 for a 1 bedroom to $1,206. Then we have 19 units at that workforce level of 80% of area-wide median income, which is $68,480 for a family of 4, with rents ranging from $1,206 to $1,652. So that's the formula, the magic formula for how Berkeley Landing is structured.
So will you have intervals where you would go up on the rent, or how does that work?
If median income goes up, the rent could theoretically go up, yes.
Okay.
And it generally goes up at about, on average, about 2% annually, which is a much lower rate of increase than you see in the private market, for sure.
One more question, Chair.
Okay, I'm through. That's good. Thank you, sir.
You're recognized.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
One more-
You're welcome.
One more question, sir. Just to ask, since that sees a broad range of income from 17 units to 74 units to 19, so I see like from $500 to $1,200 all the way up to $1,600. Will you have an annual review of income for each?
Yes.
You'll be.
But your income can go up after your initial qualification.
Right.
Right, and you actually, let me try to explain it this way, is if you're at one of those extremely low income levels, okay, and you suddenly start making $51,000 a year, your rent theoretically could wind up having to increase to these rent levels. But you can still live in the development if your income goes all the way up to 140% of the median income. So you can be recertified for 1 year all the way up to like over $100,000 a year. The idea is that you shouldn't penalize people for doing better in life.
Absolutely.
Right. So yes, there is a lot of flexibility. I'm not the greatest expert in this, but I do understand the general contours of the way the code reads, because it's section 42 of the IRS code, in case you're bored when you get home tonight, you want to read the entire IRS code. But that's how it works. These lower tiers, actually, we're doing a thing called income averaging. So as long as we're averaging 60% of AMI, so if this family at 30% jumps up to a slightly higher income level, as long as we stay at an average of 60, we're good. So again, the resident's not going to be penalized. I'm sorry if my answer was confusing.
No.
I'll just mention also, just to give you guys a little further.
Could you use a microphone,
Yeah, use
please?
the mic.
Sure.
And introduce yourself.
Yes.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone. Kevin Kroll with Wendover Housing Partners, and so we are the co-developer with Pinnacle Communities in Berkeley. So just to give you a little more insight, maybe the easiest way to tell you exactly how the rents are set. They're basically set by HUD every year, and it comes via the State Housing Agency. But what HUD defines affordable housing, the price of affordable housing is, whatever your annual income is, you basically should not be spending more than a third of that annually on housing, your mortgage, your rent, or whatever. So if you're spending more than that, you're overburdened in terms of your cost of housing. So basically, whatever the annual income is, you take that and 30% of that is what you should be spending on rent annually, and that's what the rents come out to. So if you're spending, if you have a $60,000 annual income, it's $20,000 of total rent. So that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of how HUD determines the rents. And it is HUD that determines what the income levels are and the rents are. And we're restricted to those rents. We cannot charge any more than that, as Tim said.
Okay, one last question, and then we're going to vote on the designation, and that is available space to local entrepreneurs. Have you designated what type of entrepreneurs, in a sense that a restaurateur, because you're not going to have kitchen or oil accommodation, so have you delineated what type of entrepreneurs would occupy those spaces to share with us?
Yeah, let me, this is the exciting part. I'm glad you asked this question because I'm really excited about
I'm an
these
exciting kind of person.
I love these live-work lofts. It's like something that I feel passionate about. So you have these two spaces that are on the ground floor. I think they're respectively about 700 and 900 square feet of two ground floor bays. There's an interior stairwell and a fire-rated door, and then you have the shortest commute in America. You walk up the stairs, and then you're in your second floor private apartment. So given the sizes I just told you and the fact that, you really couldn't park on, we're looking at paraprofessionals. We're actually coordinating with the CRA's Small Business Incubator Program to identify the two people that would lease those spaces. So I'm thinking, like a sole practitioner attorney or an accountant or, in one instance, did 2 live-work lofts at this development in Tallahassee, and one of them was a barber, and the other one is a professional office. So, so we're open to a wide range of things, but you're right. We're not putting a grease trap in, or we're not going to have a bodega or any of those kind of things. We're looking at paraprofessional type
And
folks.
how would you manage the entrepreneur's insurance for whatever sort of mishap might happen? Are they required to cover insurance for their business, for the spaces?
We'll require them to carry insurance, but probably not much more than I could look into that. I don't think the requirement, because for a live-work space, is more than just your standard renter's insurance, because they're really renting a space. And probably general liability for their business, but again, we're looking at the kind of uses where their insurance costs would be pretty nominal.
Right, and I'm just asking because you never know, someone will trip and fall.
Oh, absolutely.
And someone's going to get sued. Either you're going to get sued or the entrepreneur is going to get sued. Somebody's got to have insurance. But anyway, that was my question.
Madam Chair, may I ask one more question? And I'm surprised you didn't bring it up. How many of Riviera Beach residents are going to be into this project?
The CRA said they had that covered. Didn't you guys have that discussion with the applicant as part of the criteria of contractors as well as residents being hired?
Our goal is 25%.
No, I want to know what they are going to contribute to Riviera Beach residents.
You're talking about Riviera Beach's resident, like giving a preference for local residents?
Yeah.
To live there?
No, jobs.
No, jobs.
Oh, you mean like jobs? That's the same goal.
Yes.
And we're going to hold a series of job fairs after after all the major subcontractors are selected in the process Joe outlined. We're going to hold a series of job fairs and try to make that same goal by hiring actual people. We've had a lot of success with that at Pinnacle in doing job fairs and basically, I don't want to use the word force, but I will use we tell our subcontractors they need to hire local, they need to participate in the job fairs, and frankly, they need workers. They need to hire people.
I read somewhere, you're going to have 3 managers. Am I reading it right?
Talking about the ongoing.
You mean the on-site? You're talking about
Yeah,
on-site
yeah.
property management?
Yes.
Yeah, so we will be the full-time property manager, Wendover. So we manage all of just as Pinnacle does, we manage all of our properties ourselves. As Tim said, we're not just short-term holders, we're here for the long term. So, at the end of the day, we're not here just to build a building, we're here to serve residents. That is our purpose as a business. So we take a lot of pride in our property management group. 100% of the staff, it is always our goal on any property that 100% of the staff come from within the community. Because it's just best practice. It makes sense that the property manager knows the community, has familiarity with it, has familiarity with the residents, the services. So it's always our goal that 100% come from within the community. And to the best of our ability, we hire from a very, very local radius. We have there's one property manager, we'll have an assistant manager, we'll have a leasing specialist, and then we'll have a couple of maintenance staff as well.
Okay, sound good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sure. We usually have language with applicants as part of the conditions of hiring practices of our residents as well as contractors, but I believe I heard the city manager say that discussion took place with the CRA, and you had covered that basis off. Okay, at this moment, do we have any other questions from the board? And let's start with, if it's okay, I guess, Mary, we should go on to the designation to
Madam Chair?
vote on that.
May I just say one quick thing?
Yes.
Is that I just want to stipulate for the record that we're in agreement with all the conditions of approval that Mary set forth in her presentation.
Madam Chair, if I may, did you want to also add a condition to the site plan stating that the applicant shall install fencing to restrict access behind the southernmost sides of the buildings?
Yes, please.
Okay. And would the board like me to read the motions for you? Would
I
that be
can-
helpful?
I can
Yes.
read them.
Okay,
I have 'em
Vice
ready to
Chair.
roll.
Perfect.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve for recommendation zoning map amendment from DR Downtown Residential District designation to a DG Downtown General District designation, that we also approve the plat application, PA 2101 from Berkeley Landing LTD to combine 2 contiguous lots of record into 1 lot, totaling approximately 4.1 acres in land area. Also approving the site plan application, SP 2104 from Berkeley Landing to construct 2 3-story residential affordable housing apartment buildings located at 3100 and 3124 Broadway Avenue, identified by parcel numbers 5643422842000, 0010, and 56434228000020020, with a recommendation of the fencing as a condition.
You got it covered?
And the other conditions as read into the record?
And the other conditions as read into the record.
Okay, let's have a roll call on a vote.
You need a second.
I had a motion.
Oh,
May I
I'm
have a
sorry.
second?
I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, great.
Thank you. And Mr. Gannon, you're abstaining? Thank you, sir. Margaret Shepherd?
Yes.
William Wiley?
Yes.
Renee Burgess?
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark?
Yes.
That vote passed 4 with Mr. Gannon abstaining.
Madam Chair, at this time, it is 10 o'clock, and if the board wishes to continue with your agenda, you have one more item on the agenda. You would need to vote to extend the meeting past 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we push the last item to the next scheduled Planning and Zoning Board meeting, and we wrap up the meeting this
Second.
evening.
I was going to make that recommendation, but okay. If that's, do we need to have a vote on that, so we can do that?
Yeah,
Yes.
you should.
Should vote.
You should vote because it was an
Yes,
advertised public hearing.
yes.
Okay. Margaret Shepherd, Yes. William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
And today is William's birthday, you all. Let us say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to
Madam Chair,
Happy birthday to you.
Forget the
Keep up the good work.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Welcome to the city.
Ms. Clark,
Oh, yes.
did you want to make a motion to adjourn, or would you like to?
Yes, yes. No, we didn't. I make a motion to adjourn. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Good meeting.